And we are live. Welcome to the Welcome to the Political Orphans. Jesus. Great way. Welcome to Monday. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am your in-house conservative. To my left, Rob Ambrose, our token liberal, and together we go through what's going on in the news. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it's possible for a lefty and a righty to not only get along, but to be able to have a civil conversation when we don't agree. Because never forget that common sense has no political affiliations. Jesus! What's going on?
Yeah, no, it's good, brother. It's good. How was your weekend? And how was
Busy.
everyone's weekend?
Busy, working on what we do. So we got some announcement to do. Yeah.
On the Discord channel. Ooh.
Yeah, we'll wait till more people join, and then we'll talk about it. Misfit, what's going on, bro?
How's it going, brother? How's your weekend? And I agree, it's going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah, no, well, it's going to be very fucking interesting. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure that it's going to be interesting. But yeah, what's going on, Misfit? What's going on?
Yeah, it's I feel like, when you come back from the weekend, you always dread sort of looking at the news and there's nothing there. But sometimes you go there and it's like, oh, fuck, there's so much here. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there was too much to speak about today. Like, clearly, like, as I'm always browsing, doing research, browsing, seeing what people are talking about. And I was doing this yesterday. I was sitting outside smoking a cigar and I was just reviewing. And I'm like, fuck, there was at least 8 or 9 things that we could have brought up today. But obviously, Trump being Trump and being the mega troll that he is, he's always, he's between him and Carney and Alberta separating, we're set for the next year. Like, we know
easy.
we'll never.
It's a gold mine.
For political content creators, yeah, absolutely. So Misfits saying weekend was good. Tons of yard work was done. Beautiful weather. It was beautiful this weekend. I've been keeping up on it. I do all the political research for our family. It never ends. Yeah, no, it definitely never does. So we welcome your input. So let us know what you're thinking. But
where are you from, Misfit? What's where you're saying the weather was pretty good. What was yours like, Nico? Mine was okay. Ours was okay here on the East Coast. A bit shitty, but today's beautiful,
man.
17 sunny.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was great, man. Weekend was it was great. Melissa, what is going on? Good morning to you. Good morning to Texas. Melissa, what's going on? Yeah, man, it's been definitely an interesting one. It's we got to put some of the boxes that we still have in storage and shit. So it was a working week.
Oh yeah, you're still doing the move, eh?
Yeah, we're finished. We're pretty much done now. We just need to paint some shit to make it look better. But outside of that, we're. He's in Fort Nelson, BC. Nice.
Oh, good morning.
BC's beautiful, man. Now that I've been, I understand. I had never been before. It's definitely beautiful. I understand why people like it there. Yeah, I've been in Alberta. I've been skiing in Alberta. I used to ski a lot, so we did. What was it? Lac Louise.
Yep. So it's beautiful.
Beautiful stuff. Oh yeah, absolutely. Melissa's saying my brother came to visit from Calgary. Not one person he told in Canada gave a positive comment that what he was going to when he was going to visit the US. Oh, that is typical Canadian mentorship. No, but that's how we are. One thing that I've learned about not only traveling around the world, but especially in the US, we are so childish.
We're kind of stuck up our own ass a little bit, I think.
We're kind of assholes. I don't know where we got the reputation of being nice people. I don't understand it at all. I really, really don't understand.
Well, yeah, it's funny because Americans are actually super nice. If you go down and travel, they're very welcoming. They seem to be more deserving of the super polite stereotype. I think what gets people is when Americans travel. There's the stereotype of like they'll call it the ugly American, but just that you can imagine like the dude from Texas with the Hawaiian shirt who like goes over to like someplace like just loud and obnoxious and stuff. But when you're, I know when
they're
you're,
loud,
Yeah.
loud, but at the same time, if it wasn't for the language, like let's say you go to a resort, right? You can identify the Americans. You can also identify the Quebecois. They sound the same. Like remove the language, they act the same. They're loud. They like to drink. They like to
Yeah.
party.
That's right.
You like it or you don't. It depends on the type of person you are. But hey, at the end of
Yep.
the day, it is what it is. But I find that the people down south, like southern states, like anything Virginia and below, people are fucking awesome. People are
Yeah.
so welcoming. People are so nice. I love to be called honey by old women. Like
Oh, yeah,
you're
yeah.
somewhere, they're like, "Hey, darling, hey, honey." Right? You're just
Yeah.
like it's
Sweetie.
just there's people call you sir. Don't matter what age they are, they tend to call you sir, which is very very interesting. Compared, you don't see that in Canada.
Good morning,
Sylvie, what's going
Sylvie.
on, Sylvie?
How was
What
your
is
weekend?
going on?
Yeah, it seems like it's a kind of the salt of the earth people down there, right? Almost like a throwback
Yep.
to a different time.
Yeah. The southern charm, the southern the southern welcome.
Hospitality,
Yeah.
I like that.
Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is what I was looking for. I'm sold. Like I spent so much time in the South. I spent more time in the South over the past 3 years than I've did in Canada. So love. I'm very
I've never actually
biased,
been
but
to
I
the South, but
love it.
I definitely like to go down.
Yeah. So guys, let me ask you a question before we go forward. I will ask you the question of the day. It's an interesting one because if you haven't been paying attention, which I can't blame you, if
There's a lot going on.
you want to put social media aside during the weekend and spend time with the family, makes total sense to me. I get it. But the question of the day is simple. Do you think that Maxime Bernier should run against Pierre Poilievre in the by-election? Because we'll talk about it after our main topic, but Pierre Poilievre is going to try to get elected again. One of his MPs stepped down in Alberta in order for him to run again. Because having a political leader, like a political party leader, that can't argue on the floor with other MPs is kind of fucking useless. So, do you think?
Excuse me.
Actually, you know what? Do you think it's a good thing that Pierre Poilievre is trying again? That's number one. But number two, do you think that Maxime Bernier should run against Pierre Poilievre? Because one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is that I made a post this weekend about this, and it has a lot of views, a lot of comments on it, where people are either really agreeing or really disagreeing. And none of them are liberal people, right? People that follow me are not liberal altogether. So I know the type of people, but they're either they're conservative. So big C, small c, however you want to see it. But I found it to be interesting that a lot of the bad comments that I'm getting are from conservatives saying that he shouldn't be running against. But I'm like, if he can do that to one of his own MP, why couldn't Maxime Bernier just try to get the opportunity to at least get in a debate with Pierre Poilievre? Because that's the advantage that I see, is that we could potentially finally see a debate between Pierre Poilievre and Maxime Bernier, and that's what I'm interested in seeing.
Yeah, and just for some context of the question of the day, in case you didn't pick up on that news, I think it's pretty well known that Poilievre's going to run in that seat in Alberta. However, apparently now Maxime Bernier is saying, "Okay, cool, I'm going to run too." So it certainly throws a bit of a wrench into that whole thing, and that that's just picking at the scab of the Conservatives from this election, because there's some people that are pretty upset about the vote splitting thing, because there was a few ridings that I saw where the
few hundred votes,
less than the PPC got. So
I mean, well, hold on, keep that thought.
Yep.
You know the guy that I spoke about, Berta, yeah, there you go.
Proud or Berta Dad,
yeah,
or something.
Berta Proud Dad. While you were close,
yeah,
you have to combine everything together.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see, because he posted something. Let me bring that up, because that's a good point you're bringing. I was looking at this morning, and I figured I completely forgot. But thanks for jogging my memory here.
Yeah, because I mean that's a relevant piece to this debate.
No, but this is not where I want to go. So he posted this morning, right? Shit, I can't. But it's big enough, I think. So it's basically in Milton East, Halton Hill South, which I've lived right next to it, in Mississauga, which is they share a border. It's the Liberal won with 32,130 votes. The Conservative
So
we're second with 32,101.
29.
So
29 vote difference.
29.
Yeah.
So his thing is share this far and wide. I've said it before. The PPC and Maxime Bernier exists to split the vote, and this graphic proves it. If that truth offends you, maybe you're more of a liberal than you think. So I'm gonna go challenge him on that because he's challenged me on my stuff. I challenge him on his. But this is where I call bullshit, right? So you look at the PPC, it's 472 votes difference right here. Now, does that mean that if they didn't vote PPC and they voted for conservative, they would have won? Sure. But there's two things we need to keep in mind here. If they voted PPC is because I guarantee you is because Pierre Poilievre is not conservative enough for them. So they would have been probably like me. I can't vote for conservatives because they're not conservative enough for me. So who's to say that if those 472 people didn't split the vote, they would have voted for conservative, or they would have done like me and they wouldn't have voted at all because none of the party represents my values. And I don't believe that political parties own my vote. I don't owe it to anybody to vote for you. You need to convince me to vote. But that's number one. Number two, and this is the part that some of the comments are addressing, my real concern with this is, look right here. You can see my mouse, right? 412 votes were rejected at the ballots. Why? That's the question I want to know. It's one thing for you to tell me that the PPC is splitting the vote, but this is your opinion. In my opinion, the PPC wouldn't exist if the conservatives were conservative enough. That's one. But number two, why the fuck are we not addressing the 412 rejected ballots? Because I've seen ballots rejected because the wrong type of pen was used. Like the guy that's running the ballot is saying, yeah, no, your ballot is not
that's
right.
a number 3 pencil and not a number 2 pencil, that kind of thing.
So this is what we need to address. Yes, does it look like vote splitting is happening? Sure. But whose fault is it? Is it Pierre Poilievre's fault for not being conservative enough? Because if he was conservative enough, there wouldn't be a need for a PPC. Or is it that maybe there's also a big problem with the rejected ballots? Like, because right now, all of the places that they're going to point out that there's been a vote splitting, I'd be curious to see what the rejected ballots are.
Yeah,
because if it's like that along, how much you want to bet that those are conservative ballots? They're not liberal ballots that were refused, right?
I think I definitely think that's an interesting line of discussion. I think it's almost worth going through every single riding where votes was won by, you know, a small margin, and then see how many rejected ballots are there. Because I think it's worth it in that scenario to go back hand read every single rejected ballot. You know, there should be no reason why liberals would be opposed to that, because that could help liberals as well, right? There are probably some ridings where the liberals barely lost, and just get it right. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. This shouldn't be a partisan thing. With regards to your vote splitting comments, yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree. It reminds me of, I don't know if anyone's a baseball fan out there. You watch baseball and you'll know one of the things that baseball players will complain about is guys pimping their home runs, right? They hit a home run and then they throw the bat and they make a big scene, and the pitcher gets mad and then he throws a ball at the next guy. And one of the things that's often said to those guys is, if you don't like it, do better. You know, pitch better so they don't hit home runs. Don't give them a chance to make you look silly. Same kind of thing. If you don't like the vote splitting, you know, do better. And again, I'll say that as a liberal. So in some ways, I don't have a dog in this fight. This is just my observations from the outside. But I think I'm more or less in line with you. But it's an interesting topic because, you know, especially on this show, it seems like, although this is a political orphans chat, people all over the spectrum are obviously welcome here. Lately, we do seem to skew a little bit to the right on the conservative side. And this seems like this issue has the potential to really cause an interesting debate within the political orphans community. So I'd really like to see how you guys feel about that. Do you think Bernier should just be hands off, just make sure that Poilievre gets a seat, or do you think it's worthwhile to have Bernier run to, if nothing else, to keep Poilievre accountable?
this is where you and I are going to disagree, because I don't think that this show is more conservative. Is that
No,
anything?
no, it isn't. To be clear,
No,
I
but
just
hold
mean
on.
some of our
Hold on.
commentators seem to skew that way a
But
little.
it's not. But it's not.
But
It's because but always remember that Canada's gone so far left that anything right of left is considered conservative, because all our political party outside of the PPC are liberal parties. Like, people can argue with me all they want that the Conservative Party is a conservative party. It's not. They are very liberal on social issues, but they have a fiscal sense that is better than the Liberal Party. But they're very, very prone on social issues, and they see the social issues. Remove the fiscal part of their political party's platform and just look at social issues. They pretty much see eye to eye. There's not much difference between the conservative and the liberals when it comes to social issues. And that is where a PPC steps in and has the balls to talk about immigration problems.
Yep.
And this is where the main difference is. So if you're a conservative and you don't think that there should be a PPC or they're worthless, you might want to realize that you're not really a conservative, because the conservative in Canada are closer to Democrats in the US than they are to the Republican. And Maxime Bernier and his PPC, like him or not, believe in him or not, they're more libertarian than anything, and I'm more conservative than they are. So this is the thing, right? We are not, this podcast is not more conservative. It's just non-woke.
No. Yeah. I guess I should clarify. We skew more towards, seems most of our commentators have voted conservative in this election. That doesn't necessarily mean, because I mean, I fit in there. I voted conservative. So yeah.
You voted against the liberals.
Yeah. So that's
what the guys did. Yep.
Yep.
Cool. Let's take a few of those messages here if you want to.
Take these comments here. Misfit says, even in World War II, our soldiers were vicious. Just going back to that little banter about Canadians as polite. I agree. We need to go back to that kind of military. And I mean, I'm ex-military. I still have friends in the military. I can tell you morale is very low right now because of exactly what you're talking about. This loss of the warrior culture. And I think Poilievre might have been able to do something to get that back. Obviously Carney is not at all.
No.
Melissa says it's not about bad things in the US. So this is referring to Melissa's relative who no one was saying anything good about going to the States. They were scared he would get deported or something. He's Canadian.
Oh, can people stop?
I know.
So basically what you're saying is that your brother's friends are all CBC supporters and believe it's unbiased.
Why would they deport you if they just let you in the country? He wouldn't get in if he has to go through customs, right? So what are they? It's all just kind of Trump derangement syndrome, sort of.
TDS.
Yeah. She continues. U.S. immigration is in the Calgary airport, so it was nonsensical that his Canadian friend were scared for his life. Like, come on. I mean, absolutely. Like, maybe they don't let you in America. Sure, that's their right. It's their country. But like this idea that he would just be disappeared and get sent to like a El Salvadorian.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But they're right in the airport, right? Last time I went to LA, I flew out of Montreal, and it was just like, I go through our custom and then, hello, American friend.
Yeah.
Can I come into your country? Yes. Okay. Bye. Like, come on. Like, you're going to disappear.
Yeah.
I love it. That's funny.
Sylvie says, yes, regarding Bernier running Alberta, why not? And I think we could have guessed Sylvie was going to have this take. But
what? I never saw that one coming.
Yeah. I mean, but it's we got a democracy, and if he wants to run, it's his right. And if you're worried about that splits the vote, then tell Poilievre to do better.
And you know what? That means that the NDP could run too. That means the Greens should run too. Like, if they're smart, why wouldn't they take the opportunity to get somebody else elected? Like,
why
even
not?
If they could, why not? Sure. Why not? I don't see what the problem is. And this is some of the comments that I got. I kind of responded saying, so basically, if you don't want the PPC to run, or you don't see the value in what they're doing, you just want a two-party system. I don't want a two-party system. I think that's the biggest problem with the US, is that they do have a two-party system, and you only get two sides of the story. There should be at least three parties, somebody that's more in the middle, that's in between the two, that would represent more of the 75% of people that as per the bell curve, sits somewhere in the middle. So
100%. I mean, and that's that's where the political orphans sit, right in that bell curve, right in the middle.
Oh Jesus! Sorry, man. I just saw Melissa's last comment. Oh, but Jesus.
What's the
that explains it. Hold on, I'll pop
this
it.
one. This one here.
Yeah. No. This one right here. Melissa's saying that his brother is a professional musician in the symphony. Enough said. So of course, if that's the people he's talking to,
so you know, the politics. It's funny how that's all you got to do is know. As long as you know that, you know everything about his politics.
If you say musician or actor, I would have been like, yeah, okay, or school teacher. Like, you know, there's certain category you know for a fact.
Yep.
Misfit is saying, I think it's a good thing that he's trying to get a seat. From what I see, the people there like it, so we will see what happens. And he's in for a PPC member, I think he's in the perfect spot. If he wants to run, this is where he should be running, is in a place like Alberta. Clown World, do they have debates for by-elections? It's a good question. I believe they can organize it. Like, at least if I was Maxime Bernier, I wouldn't shut up about it. Like, debate me. So I don't know if they do, but I'm pretty sure they do.
If they do, we'll cover it. We're gonna cover it.
Oh, no questions about it. We'll do it live, and we'll have another popcorn party. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Misfit says, now why was there 412? I'm adding my own voice to it, but this is how I read it. Now, why was there 412 votes rejected? That's an excellent question, Misfit. And to be clear, there could be very valid reasons. I just think they should be looked at. There's no
they were conservative ballots. Yeah, sure. They could be valid reasons.
That would clearly not be a valid reason. But, there are, if they wrote on like, die motherfucker or something, then yeah, okay, I believe it. I believe that should be rejected.
I want to see the split. I don't want to just hear the wrong type of pen was used.
Yeah,
I want to see the split.
Valid. That's what I mean.
No. I want to see but if they say that it's the wrong type of pen was used, okay, cool. That's just the number one. What's the split between liberals, conservative, NDP, PPC? I want to see the numbers. Who were they voting for? Because if it's 99% conservative, you're basically either telling me that conservative voters are mentally challenged or there's a massive bias, right? So let's see. But I'd be curious to see it.
Let me take that one.
Misfit saying, our military is a shell of its former self. I'm the first generation of our family that didn't go into the military or the RCMP. I'm right there with you, bro. Like, all of my family's in the military, and the only reason I did not join it is, you know what, back then, is because I didn't believe in our foreign policies. I didn't believe in invading other countries. However you feel about it, I have nothing but respect for military guys. Like, first and foremost, I have a massive soft spot for military. Those guys do something that the most of us don't have the balls to do, and they do it out of patriotism. I'm always going to respect that. But I did not like the way military are sometimes being used for the wrong reasons, right? I believe in a strong military, but as a self-defense type of military. But I'm not here to question why you did join the military. That's none of my business. But my whole family's military. And if I have regrets in my life, but if there's one I wish I would have done, it's that one. I wish I would have still did it just for, even if it was 2 years, even if it was just 4 years, just do one, just serve once, just to have done it. Oh fuck, bro! I can barely jump.
You're so probably in better shape than fucking 80% of those guys.
I have better hair than the purple-haired motherfuckers in the military. That's for sure.
But yeah,
at least I know what my sex and genders are. I'm not confused about that.
But yeah, I do. I agree. I do kind of like that. There's this sort of decoupling with, your people's personal beliefs about whether our military should be over there or not versus the actual people serving. You can completely be against foreign military deployments, but still support the guys and men and women who are in uniform who are going there. And I think that's in my opinion that's the correct take. Oh, look who we got, Jason here, starting it already. Jason, how's it going, brother? So Jason says, yes, because people don't get to disappear here. You guys come on. I understand what you're saying.
You come on, Jason. We're talking about
a Canadian
people entering
legally, who enters legally, who's already a liberal, who's a symphony orchestra. Like, he's not in any risk. And they would just, hypothetically, if they revoked his green card when he was over there because, let's say, he was doing something like engaging
That's on him. That's on him.
They would just send him back to Canada. They're not going to send him to fucking El Salvador.
Venezuela or El Salvador. Yeah. Hey,
And
before we continue on the comments. I just wanted to point out a few things. Guys, if you like this show, make sure to like, make sure to share if you're on X. If you just found us on YouTube, make sure to like, make sure to comment. X or YouTube, make sure to comment. Make sure if you're on YouTube to subscribe. Even if you're on Rumble, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe. If you are, we've established a new membership scheme. Scheme sounds wrong. A membership. I don't know what the proper term is.
Scheme kind of works, but yeah, I know what you mean. It sounds a
Yeah,
little
but scheme sounds like
schemy.
Yeah,
Very
we've
schemy.
established. Yeah, no, we established a new membership.
A membership pyramid. Oh no, wait, that sounds just.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know what? We've established a new membership
Ponzi.
on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. No matter what I think, it's bad.
Okay.
But we've established a new membership on YouTube, and the reason's pretty simple: is over the past couple of years, we've been averaging probably 300-400 comments an episode. Like it's becoming absolutely crazy.
Past couple weeks, you mean? You said years.
I did. Yeah. Couple of years. Damn, we haven't even been going at it for 4 months, but yeah, okay. Over the past couple of weeks, we've been exploding when it comes to comments. We're fucking grateful. You guys have no idea, but we are no longer able to run through all the comments like we used to do. It's one of those things that we figured we'd add a membership to. It basically highlights your name in the comment section. Like we will see
priority.
100%. It will give you priority over all the other messages that are, all the other comments that are popping. That's not saying that we're not going to read your comments if you don't have a membership, but we will give priority to the people that have a membership.
Correct.
That being said, there's a suggestion that was made to us last week, which is something I had considered at the same time. It's funny because I was thinking about it on Friday morning, and then somebody on last Friday's show,
I think it was Robin, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. I don't think she's here today. But one of her followers, Robin, one of her members actually, Robin, said that you guys should build a Discord platform, a Discord server, which if you don't know what a Discord is, basically, if you're on this show, chances are you're around R8. Yeah, but that's why I'm going to explain it, because to most people are over 30, you know what an IRC server is, right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's kind of a server you could go and have chats with other people. Imagine Discord is similar to that. So it's I created a server where there's a bunch of different chat rooms that you can go specific on subjects and what you're looking for. But the point is, we are trying to build a community here. We're trying to get you guys to interact with each other, to interact with us. And we want to do it even when the show's done, because right now it's great. Like we're talking and the comments are just like bang, 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 bang. The comments are just piling up. People are talking to each other. But once we finish our 2 hours, 2.5 hours a day, it's done. The conversation stops there. So the idea here is that through the Discord server, you guys can join the conversations. I created a bunch of different conversations where the discussions, topics that you guys can talk about. But there's a few things where this is interesting. Not only can you guys continue talking to each other, to us, after the show's done, so 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we also want to hear from you guys. So through the Discord server, you'll be able to suggest hot topics like what's going on right now. What would you like us to cover? You can make guest recommendations saying, hey, you guys should have this guy, you guys should have this guy. If you're hearing something about Alberta separation, because this is obviously something we're always going to be talking about once there's an update, you can put it there. As a conspiracy theorist, I added a little folder there where you guys can go in and suggest conspiracy theory to us, because whatever, conspiracy theory is kind of a joke to me. Like when I used it as a joke, it's really, what are the subject that mainstream media is not covering?
Yeah,
this is mostly what it, but I thought conspiracy theory sounded better. So the idea is to continue this environment that we're building, this community that we're building, and have it on its private servers where nobody can censor you. It's going to be, because there's a lot of things that I know I can't talk on here, which will have exclusive videos that we'll put on there because we can't fucking put them here. So there's a lot of values about, we believe, at least we want to hear from you guys, but we believe that there is a lot of values about having a community that is outside of YouTube when the show's not on. This is going to be one of the perks of the membership. So basically the way it's set up right now is, and Misfit, I see you, you're a first member to join this morning, but as a member that does not have a membership on YouTube, you're able to see the post, you're able to like and have those emojis that you can add to the comments, but you're not going to be able to comment, you're not going to be able to post stuff. And the reason behind that is I want to prevent spammers, I want to prevent trolls. I don't want to turn this into 10,000 people membership where people are attacking each other. This is really to have a conversation just like we're having in the comments right now. So by having to pay for the $2.99 membership, I'm hoping that it's going to kind of avoid the trolls.
It'll get rid of 99.9% of them for sure.
Exactly. So it's literally the price of a coffee.
It's a way to protect the
coffee. It's not even a good one, and it's not a Jason Starbucks coffee.
No,
it's
pumpkin spice with all the bells and whistles.
It's not a $15 coffee. It is just
keeps getting more and more extravagant. Soon it's going to be an $80 coffee that Jason gets every single day.
But all to say, guys, that we really want to be able to continue this conversation outside of YouTube, outside of our 2 hours that we do every day, and even on the weekends. So this is why we built it, as in I built it. But Rob is not a nerd. I'm an engineer. I'm a sales engineer by trade, so I'm a fucking nerd.
Well, I had to be explained how Discord works, but I see I see the value of it.
So when you join as support, like a $2.99, there will be the link of the Discord in there. I added it on the YouTube page too. If you go check off our main YouTube page, there's the first link that's being shared is for Discord. You can probably find it at the Political Orphans on Discord. That's how you found it. But either way, so it's there, it's live, it's working. But just understand that if you do not have a membership on YouTube, you can only see the post and like them. Basically, you can leave an emoji, but you're not able to text. And again, that's kind of to prevent the spammers and to prevent trolls. And as soon as, if you do get the $2.99 membership on YouTube, it will automatically give you access to it, as long as it's the same email address that you're using with both systems. If not, let us know. I'll take care of it. I'll add you manually if I have to. But yeah, sorry, that was a 5-minute rant on the new Discord server. But this is where I personally, I've wanted to build a community like this for a long time. Seems like Discord's the best place to do it. It's there, it's running, and it's just ready to get started. Yeah. So if you're a member right now, by the way, sorry, man. If you're a member right now, go to our main page. First link that's there will bring you to the Discord server, and you should automatically have access to it. You should be able to post wherever it's possible for you to post and start commenting on stuff. If not, let me know. Let me know. Send me, find me on social media, or let me know in the comments, and I'll take care of you.
Yeah, I think, I didn't really understand what it was about until this morning. I think I just saw it as and I was like, oh, sweet, yeah, one more platform to talk. But I
almost spit my coffee on my screen, bro. What the fuck?
But now that kind of you explained it to me, I really see it as how it fits very well into what we're trying to do here. It's kind of the two sides of the same coin, like the community. The show here on YouTube is where we do the live show, the content. And then over on the Discord server is where the community sort of lives 24/7. And one thing that I really like about it, and we talked about this a little bit before, but when me and Nico started to do this show, we both had a vision of this as a community of like-minded people that's bigger than me and him. And I think the Discord server decouples the community, the Political Orphans, from me and Nico personally. We're always, of course, going to be, leaders in the community here, and we're always going to be around and commenting. But this way, it allows the community to go over there and to continue whatever conversations that you guys want without me and Nico. So, and that's really what we see it here as. This is a community that's bigger than me and him. It's really about all of us, all the people who are just disgusted with politics as usual. Not just politics, but the discourse around politics, the inability to have any altering or differing opinion from the approved narratives without being called a racist or a troll or whatever. So we're going to continue the ethos and the culture of this show over there in that Discord. And it just allows us to sort of expand what we want to do so it's 24/7, and of course gives you guys a place to. So yeah, if you guys see something out there that we haven't covered, because obviously there's only 2 of us, and you'd like to see us, you can post it over there. You can make suggestions. You can just have whatever conversations you want. And as Nico has explained, there's like the Political Orphans universe over there, and then individually, like there's one channel that's for, guest suggestions, one for content suggestions, one for just generalized chat, one for the Alberta separation, one for conspiracy theories, and we can keep adding more if more and more pop up. So it's very customizable. But yeah, we're just excited about that because I think it's probably the next logical step in what we're all trying to build here. So, and yeah, the primary reason to make it only posting if you're a member is to get rid of those trolls, because as if anyone's sort of familiar with how the internet works, as we get more and more people, it's just by nature going to get more and more trolls. And Nico and I are both pretty strict or pretty hard against censorship. We want to create, a free speech haven here. So it kind of goes against that if we're going there blocking people because we don't like what they have to say. But this will allow us to get rid of, 99% of anyone who wants to troll. So yeah. So it's
and by the way, actually, just to add to this, Robin already joined. So I'm just looking at the server on I'm just looking at the Discord right now. She joined and she has the right roles, meaning that I can see her membership, so she should have full roles. She's able to post right now.
Yep.
But Jostradamus, I think you're here. You need to join with the same email address that you have your YouTube membership on for the channel, because I don't see your I don't see it as you being from YouTube, so it's not the same. So let me know. Just make sure that the same email address is registered to your YouTube that you're using on your YouTube subscription on your Discord. If not, just text me. We'll figure it out between the 2 of us. But I see that you don't have the right roles. So there's some stuff to iron out. This is the first time I set up a Discord, but I'm going to be a professional. I'm going to become a pro through this. So just let me know.
We'll figure it. We're figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, you want to take. So that's it. That's my 20-minute rant.
Little rant there.
Maybe. Yeah. But guys, just hopefully that shows to you that we're listening to you. Like, this is the whole point of this. This was, Robin mentioned it on Friday, and I had been thinking about it in the morning. I'm like, okay, cool. So I spent 6 to 10 hours on Saturday basically just creating the discourse so that we can have those conversations there. And I think that's the way to do it. So let us know what you guys think. Let us know if you're interested. We can show you how to join. But until then, man, thanks again for being here. So if you want to take, I think we're at
we got a few back.
Cheryl. We're at Cheryl right now.
Cheryl says, "Hey, Rob and Nico, and morning to you, Cheryl.
What's going on, Cheryl?
Your weekend was excellent." Jason says, "Hell, if you're a comedian, you can become president of Ukraine." Yeah, I mean, that's
if you're a comedian, you can become president of the Ukraine. If you're a game show host, you can become president of the United States. If you're your action movie star, you could become the governor of California.
Yeah, that's right. It's same as Ronald Reagan. He was I mean, that's the American dream, right?
It's just I had to throw like kind of a Democrat in there by recommending. Although
he ran as a Republican, but he's pretty liberal.
Bitch, please. That guy's a fucking Democrat. Sorry, that guy's a Democrat. I had no reason to swear in front of him.
It happens.
Yeah. But I had no reasons to do
it. Sylvie says, most CPC candidates didn't show up for the federal debates. I think if there is debate for this one, because it's a by-election, I think it would actually be pretty well covered, because obviously all eyes would be on this one specifically.
It will be very well covered. You know why? Because we'll cover it. That's why.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It will be unbiased, unfiltered, and popcorn ready.
Wise guy says, I'm late today. We had a power outage just when you started. Hi, all. Good, no worries at all. I'm glad you could show up, wise guy. Did you catch that last bit about the new Discord server for members? If not, just drop a message in there and we'll tell you.
Or if you're like Rob, you don't know what a Discord server is, I can explain it to you.
Yes, so we can do that. Misfit says, yes, Nico, I agree. I want to see who the rejected ballots were for. Yeah, I mean, to me, yeah, I'd like to see it too. I want to know why they were rejected. If it is something like the wrong pen was used, that's not a valid reason. And I
no,
I think that is a it's
that's
completely
bullshit.
nonpartisan. Yeah, it's completely nonpartisan to want to find that out. Joseph Jamas, I could never join the military because a third word I ever learned in English was why. Yeah, so I did 6 years. I was in the infantry, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That was the story of my military career. Funny thing about the military is in the culture, if you're kind of one of the guys, you can get away with it, but I was always in trouble. I was always getting shit on for, I don't like people yelling at me or telling me what to do. And in the military, you kind of have to be used to that. But I mean, a lot of it was bullshit, right? Like you show up and, if you're toque, they'll tell you got to show up for morning run with your toque in your left coat pocket. And if it's in your right coat pocket, they're going to call you out. And that's just a lot of just sort of extreme, like do what we say only because we say so. And I understand it in the military.
Yeah, but structure.
They have to drill that into you. You do not question any orders.
That's what it is.
But as someone who likes to question things, yeah. Now that said, I would go back in a heartbeat just because me and Jason talked about this when I was on the show. The friends that you make in the military are unlike anyone. These are guys who are going to be your family for the rest of your life, and that's definitely worth something. Jason says, I told my friend, if you have friends or family in the military in the US, tell them to get the fuck out. Don't get your legs shot off in Ukraine and Iraq while Trump gets to play golf. Yeah, it's kind of it's a little bit of a different way of saying, but basically what Nico was saying. I think if I'm reading you correctly, I'm quite sure that I am. You strongly support the men and women in uniform, but not the needless wars, right? And I agree, it's stupid. It's go ahead.
I don't believe in being involved in foreign wars. I believe in defending your countries. Now, that being said, if you're a military guy or woman and you want to join and do what you can for your country, I'm never going to shit on you, because that's more courage than 99.9% of people out there. That being said, the reason I didn't join when all my family's in it was because I did not believe. I haven't believed in being involved in foreign wars in 20 years now, for more than 20 years. So it's been a long time, because I had considered it before I went back to school. I'm like, shit, maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should join the military, but I cannot endorse going to another country, invading them for their natural resources. And let's be honest here, it has happened. It will continue to happen. So,
yep.
But at the same time, I
Absolutely
understand why we need a military. So I'd like to be. I wish there was a way to serve more, like for the country, not outside.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It, when I was there, I was deployed to Afghanistan in 2007. We never really kind of asked ourselves those questions. It was afterwards that I sort of looked back and was like, what the fuck were we doing? Like, why were we there? And then when you see the way Afghanistan mission ended a couple of years ago, I know a lot of my buddies, they had a real hard time with that, because what was sort of keeping them together was this idea that, well, at least we made a difference. At least and then, no, we didn't. We didn't do anything. It's worse than it ever was. And it's sort of like, it's the way it goes, right? Old men sending young men to die for their, for their own sort of reasons. That almost always have to do with money or power.
Of course it does.
Misfit says, with hindsight being 2020, if I could go back to being 18 and 19, I would join knowing how the world is turning out now.
I get it.
Yeah. There's definitely that feeling of, that, well, certainly at 18 or 19, I think there's that sense of adventure that just most young men have. But there's, I don't know. It definitely feels like, Jason, I fucking love you too. We love you too, brother.
You know why? It's because of this. When I said scheme earlier, call it technique. That's acceptable. Yeah.
The membership
Well,
thing.
I need
the membership
I
thing.
need to find a better fucking term for it.
Scheme the scheme.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Because scheme sounds like Ponzi scheme, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
exactly.
just
Right.
so wrong.
Acceptable.
Yes, Robin, we got one, and I see that you found it because
Yep.
you're on right now, and I can see that you're online. You even
That was a
just
great
responded.
suggestion.
Yep, she just responded. She just responded to my text that I responded to her text. So hey,
Perfect.
there you go.
Misfit says
She's saying on the server that hey, not because I asked her how she was doing. She's like, hey, not much. Have you streaming on my TV while I prep for work?
I
We're
love
on
it.
TV, bro.
Oh yeah.
TV.
Hey mom, we made it. We made it to the big time. We're on TV. We're on someone's TV. It's one TV. That's it though. We're on TV.
Doesn't matter. We're on TV.
Right. How many TVs? Not important. Not important at all. Misfit, don't worry about that, brother. Whenever you can, you're contributing a lot to this community just by being here.
I agree, brother.
Jason says, y'all mad because I'm styling on you. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
That's why I'm mad.
Starbucks pumpkin latte.
We can't all be married to Harvard educated sugar mamas. We can't all afford those $20 pumpkin spice lattes.
Oh, that's funny. That's freaking hilarious. Good for you, bro.
Robin says, looks great in there, guys. Yeah, I mean, that to be, credit where it's due, that was Nico. Nico spent quite a few hours, I believe, this weekend, putting it up together. And to be, in my defense, I had no fucking clue what Discord, like I knew vaguely what it was. I just thought it was another chat server or something. But I think as I've sort of looked into it, I actually think it's exactly what this community needs.
Yeah.
This way it keeps the conversation going 24/7. We can cut down on the trolls. We can. I just think it's just going to add a whole extra dimension to this show and what we're trying to do here that I think is definitely needed.
Agreed.
Cheryl, just wanted to stop in and say hi and listen for a few minutes. Can't say I will listen to the whole show later. Have a great conversation. Cheryl, any amount of time you can spend here with us, we always appreciate it. You know that.
Do you want to get it started? Because
let's do this. That's right. And we're kind of gonna have to get used to doing that. And I hate to do it. And I think you do too. For the last 3 months,
minutes in, I haven't shown one video.
For the last 3 months, we've been able to take every single comment, and I guess in some ways it's a good thing because it means we're growing. On the other hand, it means we have to change our habits a little bit and just sort of cut it off. But again, and that's what the membership will also help with is to sort of give us that priority. I'll just take this final one from Joe because he is a member, so he gets priority. Joe says that is because Trump released 5,000 Taliban terrorists and surrendered the country to him, then arranged our final pullout to fall on Biden's terms. Yeah, I don't even see it as partisan. I agree that there's fuckery on all sides. I do not see Trump as some geopolitical genius. I think his shoot from the hip style, often geopolitically speaking, often will cause more harm than good. I'm not sure he always thinks everything through. He just kind of does it. But yeah, there's Trump. Absolutely. I know it happened under Biden's term. So obviously Biden shares some blame, but Trump also shares some blame. And if Obama shares some blame for that whole fiasco.
So let's go to, since we're talking about Trump, might as well just continue. So
yeah, let's do it.
I don't know if you guys are aware, but Carney's set to meet with Trump tomorrow. So this is one of the reasons why we're bringing this up. But he's announced last week on his first press conference after being elected that he will be meeting with Trump Tuesday, which is tomorrow. And Trump last week recorded an interview where he's still talking about annexing Canada. So I'm curious to see if obviously they're going to talk about it yesterday, because Carney, last time he spoke to Trump, said they didn't mention it at all. Turns out that it was bullshit, that they did talk about it. Mm-hmm. To which extent, we have no clue. We don't have that information. We only get what they're going to share with us. But we found a video of Trump talking about annexing Canada on, I think it was MSNBC. Either way, I got the video right here. Let's listen to what Trump has to say about us becoming Americans.
Move on to Canada. You have long talked about making Canada the 51st state. There's obviously a new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, who you spoke to after his victory. He says that you didn't talk to him in that call about making Canada a 51st state.
No, he called me. He was very nice, and I congratulated him. He had a victory. It's a very close victory. It's, there's no majority or anything, so that's going to make things a little bit difficult, I think, for him to run. But he nevertheless had a victory, and he's a very nice man, I think.
Do you plan to talk to him about making Canada a 51st state?
He wants to come and see me. He's going to come this week or next week.
So will you talk to him about making Canada a 51st state, annexing Canada?
I'll always talk about that. You know why? We subsidize Canada to the tune of $200 billion a year. We don't need their cars. In fact, we don't want their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't even want their energy. We have more than they do. We don't want their lumber. We have great lumber. All I have to do is free it up from the environmental lunatics. We don't need anything that they have. We're giving them. I asked Mr. Trudeau, who I call.
Before we continue,
I call the governor.
But Mr. Trudeau.
Like our Governor Trudeau.
What I was going to say is that as much as you can disagree with the $200 billion, because he's not giving us that money. But
the word subsidizing isn't right.
But he's right when he says, though, that he doesn't need our cars, he doesn't need our forests, he doesn't need our lumber. Like, he can easily produce it there. And again, before people shit on Trump, before Canadians shit on Trump, what's the problem with becoming more self-reliant? As we export 75% of our stuff to the US. Shouldn't we be able to be more self-reliant? Yes. Shouldn't we be able, instead of importing from the US or sending our oil down there, should we not refine it in Canada? Yes. No country in their right mind is going to say we shouldn't produce what we can produce. What you can't, import it. What you can produce locally, fucking produce it. If you have the natural resources, build the workforce, build the infrastructure that you need, and do it. This is pretty much what he's saying. Outside of the $200 billion, which he likes to throw numbers out there to make it sound like he's important. But outside of that, can you really disagree with why would they buy our cars if they can produce theirs? I'm sorry, but American muscles from the 70s are still my favorite cars. And of the 60s, beginning of the 70s, bro, give me a GTO. Give me an old Mustang, like a 67 Mustang. Give me a 72 Gran Torino, like in the movies. Oh, I would take those American muscle any day of the week before a Canadian car. But he's nothing, up to now, he's not saying anything wrong, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of butt hurt that Canadians are feeling when, it doesn't really, of course, he's the American president. He's going to do things that he believes are good for America. I think here in Canada, we need to stop. It's kind of that entitlement. Like it's almost like we act like we're entitled to be selling our cars to America. And in some ways I see where the disconnect comes, because often what's good for America might be bad for Canada, but you can't get mad at America for doing that. It's not productive. Like, we should just be focused on getting self-reliant ourselves. And just before we go on there, I just want to say, Stu says Sunoco buys Parkland for $9 billion, but Pierre wanted to sell Canada to the US, right? I just want to highlight that because Stu did drop $5 into our tip jar there. So Stu, we appreciate that, Stu. Sir. And thank you for the comment there. I'm not actually well informed enough about the actual, Sunoco buying Parkland. But yeah, if you want to follow up with that and just sort of clarify for us how that fits into what we're talking about. But yeah, thank you for the comment and the tip. We appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I'm curious for you, Stu, to develop kind of that idea, because you're saying that Sunoco bought Parkland. There's a lot of American companies that own oil and gas properties in Alberta. I used to work with them as a sales engineer back in the day. So yes, there's a lot of American companies with divisions in Canada that owns property down there. But I'm not sure about your comment. Pierre wanted to sell Canada to the US, right? Oh shit. Okay, no, it's sarcasm. Okay, I just got it.
Yeah, we got
it. This is sarcastic. So basically, yes, you're correct. Yes, it's okay for the Liberals to sell it to sell Sunoco some oil and gas fields in Alberta, but it's Pierre that wanted to sell Canada to the US.
He's the bad guy. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Sarcasm sometimes over text needs to be read, or I'm just absolutely retarded. So that could be it too. Either way, it's
probably both.
There's probably a mix of both
and a little from column B.
Plus, I'm French on top of that, so the list never ends.
That's always the. I'll take a couple of these comments before we get
no, but hold on. Let's finish the video.
Yeah. Okay. Good call.
There's still some to go.
Governor Trudeau, I said, not Prime Minister,
Governor Trudeau.
I said, Governor Trudeau, could I ask you one question? Why are we giving you $200 billion? Why are we subsidizing Canada? If Canada was a state, it wouldn't cost us. It would be great. It would be such a great. It would be a cherished state. And if you look at our map, if you look at the geography, I'm a real estate guy at heart. When I look down at that, without that artificial line that was drawn with a ruler many years ago, it was just an artificial line, goes straight across. You don't even realize what a beautiful country it would be. It would be great. But I don't think the American public wants me to pay $200 billion a year to subsidize Canada. Again, remember this.
Yeah.
We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything. We do very little business with Canada. They do all of their business practically with us. They need us. We don't need them.
You and I talk Canada, the 51st state. There's obviously.
Look down at that without that.
Okay, hold on. I'll pause it. Seems like you're having problems clicking once.
Yes. I did just want some context for the listener. So what he's talking about there is he's talking about the trade deficit that America has with Canada. They buy something like $250 billion more of our goods than we buy from theirs. So that's not really subsidizing. That's just a matter of trade between the countries. And that's not a decision that any politician can make. That's just the individual companies within each country. They decide where they buy their goods from. And if you actually remove oil and gas, we actually have I think it's like a 50 billion deficit with America. So I know, you can't necessarily just ignore oil and gas if it doesn't exist, but just some context to that comment. The numbers he's using are, yes, correct, but I don't think any like actual serious sort of economist or business person thinks that he's actually talking about subsidizing Canada. Like, America is not giving us money for free for nothing.
Not only that, but he's not talking to economists either, right? He's talking to just regular people that might not understand how the economy works.
And that's even more reason to get it right, in my opinion.
And there's but you know what? As I said before, Warren Buffett did make a good point a couple of weeks ago, saying that your leader should also be a teacher. He should be explaining to his people what they're actually doing. Not sure that that's the skill that Trump is. I'm not sure that I remember. No, but any politicians, I don't remember a politician ever really explaining in detail why he was doing things. Politicians tend to speak to people, not speak with the people, right? So there's a massive difference here. Unlike what we do on the show here, we have conversations with the people, right? We have conversations with our listeners, which obviously they're not doing that. But the other thing I was going to bring up too that never seems to be brought up is the fact that we're 40 million and they're 350 million people. So why wouldn't we sell more down there? Why we can't buy as much from them as they buy from us, considering we're 10 times less. But he is right in saying that 75% of our exports right now, as we stand, go to the US. But it's the same thing. How can you compare 1/10 of our GDP? Like, we literally have a 10th of their GDP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
So
that's right.
Keep that in mind, right? Well,
yeah, exactly.
Do you want to finish this?
Yeah, we'll finish the video there.
That artificial line that was drawn with a ruler many years ago, it was just an artificial line, goes straight across. You don't even realize what a beautiful country it would be. It would be great. But I don't think the American public wants me to pay $200 billion a year to subsidize Canada. Again, remember this.
Yeah.
We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything. We do very little business with Canada. They do all of their business practically with us. They need us. We don't need them.
You and I talked, and I asked you if you would rule out military force to take Greenland, and you said no, you don't rule out anything. Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need that for national and international security.
But not
I
with
think
Canada?
It's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
Okay, but you don't rule it out for Greenland.
And by the way, Canada, they spend less money.
One thing I just want to pause there, because it's funny when the media portrays this exchange, because you see it again and again. They're talking about, oh my God, he hasn't ruled out military action, as if he might be thinking about invading Canada. Whereas to me, yeah, he didn't officially say it, but that's just, he doesn't talk like that. He all but ruled it out in that clip. To me, it seemed very clear that he is not at all thinking about using military force against Canada.
You know how I see it, what he just said there? He kind of left space for it to be a possibility.
Because that's a troll side acting, right?
No, because of China. If China puts boom in Canada, to me, when I listen to him talk, that's the only opening that he's saying. Because we do have a problem with China being extremely involved in our politics and very involved. Like, they have police stations in Canada. This is a fucking fact. You can check it out, right? But at the same time, this is how I see it. What he's saying, he's not saying that he's going to invade Canada, but if China were to have military in Canada, he wouldn't allow it because we're connected to the US. Can you really disagree with that? Like, I'm sorry, but if China starts having military bases in Canada, I wouldn't be against the US removing those. I'd much rather be involved with the US than be involved in China. Let's get that fucking straight right now.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. And I don't really think that's a realistic possibility, or at least if there are Chinese boots on the ground, I think it will be an invasion of them against us. And if that's the case, we're going to want that American help. Just before we finish,
I agree.
I just want to take this one comment because I kind of laughed. I was reading it from Paul because it's sort of, I'm like, wow, Paul, he's only been here for about two minutes, clearly, because I think he thinks we're liberals, or at least, we're pro Carney, anti-Trump. So he says the Trump derangement in this comment section is hilarious. You liberals put Canada in this weak position. Now you're going to fix the problem. Stupidity of the liberal boomers is insane. Yeah, I mean, if you stick around, you'll see we talk about the stupidity of liberal boomers all the time. Nico is quite a conservative, like a strong conservative. I'm a liberal, but I voted conservative. This show is about people who are just sick of politics and the political discourse. There are liberals, there are conservatives, there's libertarians, people from all over the spectrum. The one thing we have in common is we approach every issue with common sense. And right now, common sense is not typically on the side of the left. So thank you for the comments. We appreciate you jumping in. But I think if you stick around a little bit longer, you'll see that this isn't quite the place that I think you might have thought it was for a second.
Or maybe that comment was supposed to be in a different YouTube channel that he's listening.
Yeah, and if I'm taking it the wrong way, my apologies.
Yeah, no, we'll let him confirm because it doesn't make sense to me. But there's a lot of things that don't make sense to me. So
I think sometimes people might jump in and hear one thing and be like, "Oh, well, they're this," but we're definitely not that.
Yeah, we'll see. They're this, but we're not that.
We're this, but not that.
And military than practically any nation in the world. They pay NATO less than any nation. They think we're subsidized.
Hold on, let me rephrase.
Nation in the world. They pay
Greenland.
And by the way, Canada.
Oh, there you go.
They spend less money on military than practically any nation in the world. They pay NATO less than any nation.
You're not wrong there.
They think we're subsidized. They think we are going to protect them. And really, we are. But the truth is, they don't carry their full share, and it's unfair to the United States and our taxpayers.
But you are not ruling out military force to take Greenland.
I don't know.
So before we continue this, that's another thing he's not wrong about. Is that the fact that because we share the biggest border with another country in the world, which is the US, the number one, arguably one of the top two biggest superpowers on the planet, we do use them as a way not to have a massive military force. And anybody that debates that, please look at the numbers because it is true. We use the fact, we know, and considering that we're basically a massive island disconnected from the rest of the world, we're capable of not having an army because the US is right to the south of us. And like I said before, you know that if somebody invades Canada, no matter who it is in the world, the Americans won't accept it. They will go to war with whoever.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not fucking stupid. We know this shit, right?
No doubt. I don't understand the people who say, oh no, that's not true. Well, of course that's what happened. Of course and you can make the argument that that's exactly what we should have done is, not spend a ton of money on our military because we've got Big Brother to our south who's going to protect us. Now, obviously, they have had enough of that situation, but I still think it was in our interest to do that as long as they allowed it. And now that they won't allow it, okay, just accept it. Like, listen, we had a good few decades. The gravy train's over. It's time to start sort of paying our fair share. But yeah, he's not wrong in what he's saying. And I think, Canada, that's what we should have done. If they're going to allow that, then we should have taken advantage of it. But they won't allow it anymore. So yeah, time to change.
Agreed.
Rule it out. I don't say I'm going to do it, but I don't rule out anything. No, not there. We need that. We need Greenland very badly. Greenland is a very small amount of people, which we'll take care of and we'll cherish them and all of that. But we need that for international security.
Yeah. This part is Greenland is just, it's part of the conversation. I couldn't give two shits.
I think he's
sorry.
I think he's very serious about taking Greenland.
It seems like it. I'd be curious to see what the people think in Greenland, if they're actually interested in joining the U.S. or not, because
there's so few that he can make it really worth their while. I've heard something like they could give each person $1 million and it would still be nothing for America. That's a pretty substantial incentive, literally $1 million in your account, and you could see why America might want it for like the rare earth metals and all the mining. And just so
that's not the reason, but I don't think that's the reason why. It's because it's a mass military presence between North America and Europe.
Yeah.
Because think about it, if they could have bases there, that means they can send
a shield, right?
Oh fuck yeah! Oh yeah, 100%. I guarantee you, if there was an island between Canada and Russia or Canada and China on the Pacific side, they would want to have it too.
100%.
So. I'm just looking. Obviously, people are saying new opinion polls shows 85% of Greenlanders, so about 10 people, do not want to be part of the U.S. No, I'm just kidding. 10 people. There's probably more than that. But hey, it doesn't seem like it's a popular decision, but it's a popular opinion. But
yeah,
who knows? Who knows, right?
Yep.
But what do you guys think? Like, we just watched this video. He's talking a lot about. He's talking about annexing Canada, but at the same time, is he really? Like, it seems people are taking him
super serious to me.
No, because he's still meeting with Carney tomorrow. I'm sure even Carney says they're going to have a discussion and they're going to figure it out. They will eventually come to an understanding, and I don't see this not happening either. So I don't think. It seems like the left-leaning media is making a really big deal out of this, and there's really nothing to it, if you ask me. I still believe that he is not fucking interested in Canada whatsoever. Why the fuck would he want to bring 40 million liberal people to his country? He wants Alberta. If there's one province he wants, he'll take Alberta. He'll probably take Saskatchewan if it's a 2-for-1. But outside of that, he couldn't give two shit. He does not want Quebec to join the U.S. He doesn't want Ontario to join the U.S. That means a Republican leader will never be elected again. Don't want that. So
yeah, and it's funny. It really shows you about that media bias, because if you that was the first time I saw the words that he used in that interview. Yeah. But reading the coverage about it, I actually thought it was going to be much more sort of belligerent.
But that's what they do.
But to me, yes, he didn't rule it out because, for reasons that you gave. And also it's just Trump. That's just the way he talks. But everything about him, his body language, the way he said it, suggested to me that he all but ruled out military force, at least as far as like invading Canada. As you said, if China puts boots on the ground, that's a different story. But if that happens, we're going to want that.
Agreed.
You want to take
some comments?
Yep.
Yeah, go for it, man. I'm just looking at something here.
Misfit says there's lots of pros and cons of the U.S. annexing Canada. I would rather be under the U.S. government than under the Chinese dictatorship.
No questions about that one, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I want Canada to stay independent. I'm a patriot. But if those are my options, it's no question. It's no question at all.
That's not even a question. Yeah, that's not a question at all.
He continues. The problem we have right now is we are wealthy in resources, but our country is being run by a clown show. Yeah, and we hit that on that topic a lot. We could be a superpower, an energy superpower. We could be out there exploiting our resources, but the Liberal Party specifically, they seem to have a genuine aversion to doing anything that exploits our natural resources. And I mean, I agree we should do it responsibly, but like it seems like the Liberal Party, they don't even have that in their lexicon. The idea of it seems like they think just by default, if you are extracting natural resources, you are being irresponsible or immoral. And that's just such a, for a country that's rich in natural resources and not much else, that's a death sentence to their economy.
In my opinion, we have the number one untapped resources in the world. It's very hard for me to be convinced that we can dig more, we couldn't take more of a lumber, we couldn't be hydroelectricity, oil, gas. Like it seems that we have uranium in Saskatchewan. It seems that we have so much natural resources, but because we're under liberal rule, there's always caps. There's always things we can't. Yeah, they just make it. Oh no, but we're not preventing people from doing it. Yeah, through regulation, policies, and red tape, you absolutely are. So it seems like that's what we're facing.
Yeah.
But can we stop lying to each other that we don't have the potential to be a massive energy superpower? Like the only country that has literally more oil than us is Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. That's it. Those are the only two countries. Yeah, and we're untapped. We're not using it, unlike the Saudis. They're actually they became what they became because of the fucking oil. Let's not lie to each other here either, right?
I think there's a lot of suspicion that the Saudis don't have nearly as much oil as they say they do anymore. I think they've really sucked out. Probably.
Oh, that's possible.
Yeah,
that's possible.
So it's entirely possible we're actually second in the world. But yeah, I mean, unlike us, we probably have more because they're being very conservative with their estimates, and we're just sipping at it. We're just like the oil we do take out is just a tiny fraction.
Yep. Agreed. Hey guys, by the way, if you're listening to this, you're on if you're on YouTube, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber either. Make sure to subscribe. If you're following on the show for the first time, welcome. If you're on X, like, comment, make sure to follow and share. Something you can do on X to help us out if you believe in what we're trying to do. But please comment. It is all about being able to comment, to talk with you guys. And if you are interested, if you're a Discord person, we started a Discord server. We'll talk about it more at the end, but just to say, if you like Discord, you can find us at the Political Orphans on Discord.
Yeah, and guys, hopefully you'll indulge.
Kashmir changed her page, changed her picture. She had a Lisa Simpson.
Oh yeah, that's right. I go by avatar more than the name.
Yeah.
She says, do you think many Canadians have become lazy and lack innovation? Do you think Americans are harder working? I personally think culturally we're quite similar to the United States in terms of those things. Yeah, politically, obviously we're more liberal, but I think when it comes to those things, I think the big difference in productivity between America and Canada isn't really the work ethic of Canadians versus Americans. I think it's our leadership and basically the Liberal government has put Canada's economy so it's like we have one hand time behind our back. I think that's what's hamstringing us. What do you think about that?
I don't know. This is the thing. Like, I can feel a certain way, but I don't base my opinions on feelings. I think that you're right in a way that culturally we're very similar when it comes to work ethics. I can tell you that in North America, we tend to work a lot more than European countries, for example. We don't have that. We take our work very seriously and we want to have longer hours. It's normal for us, but Europeans are not like that. But at the same time, if you look at Chinese, there's good reasons why Chinese immigrants come to Canada and the US, and they're normally the high, like Asians and South Asians are like excelling in North America because they're even harder workers than us. But at the same time, do I think we're more than the US? I don't know. Like, you know what? I don't know. But off the top of my head, I don't think there's much difference. I'd be curious to see the studies.
It's an interesting question.
In my opinion, it's probably bang on. It's probably exactly the same or very close. I don't think Canadians are lazy. I think Canadians are complacent.
Yeah.
We don't fight a lot for what we want, but I don't think we're lazy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not when it comes to work ethics. Political to own research, we're fucking lazy. But when it comes to working, I think there's a lot of hardworking Canadians out there that just wants to do the right thing for their family.
I agree with that. Misfit says, if China puts boots on the ground, then yes, the U.S. will push with military personnel. They have to.
Yep.
They cannot afford to have a Chinese base in Canada, and if that happens, we will be begging them to come in. So
at least I will be happy that they do.
Yeah, absolutely. Robin says, we have no military right now. We're very vulnerable and we are broke. Yep. I mean, we certainly, the economy is basically stagnated for 10 years. I don't, to me, Canada seems like, you ever watch those shows like where there's a couple and they're just living way beyond their means and they have to go to some financial guru and he says, okay, you got to cut this, you got to cut this, you got to cut this, you got to start saving money. That's how I see it. I don't think we're broke in the sense that we're poor, although it might seem that way. I think what we are doing is living beyond our means, and we need to basically, we've talked about this a lot. We need some sort of a Canadian Doge, and you don't have to call it Doge if it's too loaded a term. You need someone to come in, an outside entity, should be nonpartisan. And I guess to some extent, that's sort of like, we've both been pretty supportive of the American Doge, but you can't say it's nonpartisan. Elon Musk is not partisan, or he is partisan, sorry. It should be, I think, a little more nonpartisan than the American version, but the idea of going through program by program and trying to cut government waste, I don't know who could be opposed to that.
I think this is long overdue. I think every single government out there should have one. Every single country, should have a third-party entity. But it should be a third-party entity that looks at government spending and just say, why the fuck are you spending money here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, 100% agree. And Misfit says, so basically, we're fucked. I mean, I assume I assume you're doing that sort of tongue in cheek in a humorous way, and I agree with you in that way. It does feel that way. I think we can pull ourselves out, but we're definitely, I don't think we're going in the right direction. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do. We definitely have a lot of work to do, and I don't know that it's going to happen over the next 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with this. Wise Guy says, like you guys, I want completely unrestricted trade throughout the world. As Canadians, we own the natural resources of Canada. We need to unleash them for our benefit. I completely agree. And I just don't think that the Liberal Party is the one to do that. In fact, I think they will be the opposite of that. Yeah,
because Carney said it himself that he wants to put climate change as a financial conversation.
Focus on every single financial decision.
Yeah. So every financial decision needs to have some type of a climate change component to it. That means less natural resource. We're not gonna use our natural resources, or there's gonna be a massive caveat on it, or there's gonna be a massive tax on it. That he's gonna call it a carbon footprint bullshit, and it's gonna be everywhere. So no matter how you look at it, we're not gonna use our natural resources. It's gonna cost us more to do it. And we're gonna put a cap on it because we wouldn't want to pollute. God forbid we have an impact on our environment.
The slightest, tiniest bit. And Robin says, or we will starve like Venezuela did. And it's actually a great example, because Venezuela can show you that you can be very resource rich and through poor policies and poor management be very poor. And I think Venezuela is a cautionary tale for our leaders.
It is a very fucking interesting situation that's over there, and I think that we're too blind to actually realize that it could be coming our way. Because Carney has been talking about how he wants to build more houses. He wants to get involved in the building of houses. He talked about what was it called? I think it was a 25 billion home Canada first or something like that. I was just listening to his address from last week. I didn't have the time to finish it because I wanted to talk about it today.
Yep.
I need to find it, but they talked about how they want to implement a new strategy from the government on building houses with the public sector. This to me is fucking scary as shit. Governments do not do anything efficiently.
Good.
And you don't want them to start dictating how harsh, getting more involved than they are now. They should even remove those fucking restrictions as to, let's make sure it's easy for the private sector to actually build the houses, not get involved and make it more complicated.
100%. 100%. And we'll take this last comment from Wise Guy, and then we'll just jump on to the next topic. Wise Guy, and Wise Guy keeps beating this drum. Talking about the proposed North American Union. The map published in early 2000 of the proposed North American Union includes Greenland, Mexico, USA, and all of Canada, and that is the plan still. Rest assured. Yeah, and as you said, as we said, I think you first mentioned this, like your very first comment weeks ago. I think it's an interesting idea. It's certainly one worthy of discussion and debate. I wouldn't say I'm sold or convinced, but I'm open, and I welcome to the debate for sure.
Here is what I was talking about. So let me just show this, because since we're going to be talking about this, I'd much rather show evidence. So basically, this is what I was talking about. In his address last week, Carney said that he vowed to create a new entity for the Canadian housing industry by promoting modular and prefab homes, which I believe that the company he ran actually specializes.
Is a huge investor of modular and prefab.
But don't worry, that's just a coincidence. It has nothing to do, because all of his money is in a blind trust, and he doesn't know what they are. Obviously,
it's just look inside yourself, Brenda.
Yeah, exactly. He said that his government will create a new entity called Build Canada Homes to do this, and to provide private developers with up to $25 billion in financing. Oh yeah, that sounds like CBC 2.0 right here. Of course, they will not ask you if you have DEI policies. Of course, they won't ask you about your political affiliations. Of course, that will be totally an unbiased process, and those people will not be chosen for. No, of course not. So basically, he's saying that he's going to build an entity called Build Canada Homes. It's going to put fucking public sector bureaucrats between public need, private entities, and you're going to have a new layer of red tape in between the two. And not only are they going to be able to implement red tape all they want, but they're going to be able to flash money to the people that they like $25 billion. Once again, taxpayers' money being used to supply a housing crisis. Does it even exist? Like I posted about this morning. I have the hard numbers. Do we have an actual housing crisis, or do we have an immigration problem? That's the question I asked on my socials this morning, because if you look at the numbers, bro, it's not really a housing crisis that we have.
I mean, I agree. I understand your point. I think it's both. I think we do have a housing crisis, but I think it's primarily pushed by the immigration numbers. And I guess, you can kind of, if you want to just look at it as an immigration problem that leads to unaffordable housing, I think that's a fair way to frame that. But I don't think any solution that does not also factor in immigration is not going to be an effective one. I heard him on the weekend talking about. It's so funny because his tone is completely different to what he's actually saying. Like the tone is like he's talking about, we realize immigration has been too much, and so we're gonna lower and limit immigration to 5% for the next couple of years.
Yeah, bull fucking shit. Yeah.
And I'm like, if you actually do the math of what 5% means, it's the exact same. It's still, I think most experts believe the consensus is that about 1% every year is what you're shooting for if you want to not tax your infrastructure unnecessarily. So 5%, I think he's just hoping that people aren't doing the math. Because I think,
that's exactly what he's doing.
We showed the math there the other day. 5% of our population.
Here's the math for you. This is a post I made this morning. So you want to know, this is what we have as non-permanent and new permanent resident. Those are the numbers from Immigration Canada.
Yep.
In 2023, more than 1 million international students, and this is always this is the amount of permits that they allow. So this is not all the same students, but they renew that basically every year, right?
Yep.
There's more than 760,000 temporary foreign workers. There's 471,000 new permanent residents every year. And how many of those are students that become permanent residents or temporary foreign workers that become permanent. So that means that those temporary workers, there's others that are brought in. Same thing for the students. And then there's almost 150,000 asylum seekers. So if you look at it, you're looking at 2.1, just over 2 million people every year are foreigners in Canada. And yet, as per the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, they say that we need a new 5.8 million homes by 2030, which is about 1.1 million homes a year. So you look at those numbers, you're like, bro, you just showed me 2 million people that live here. So what do we have? What's the problem that we have? Is it really a housing problem? Or is it a lack of house? Or do we let too many immigrants out? And to go back to your point, you're absolutely right. He said 5% in his address on Friday. And you know what that means? If you do the calculation, 40 millions, like, let's make it easy.
Like
40 millions. What is 10% of 40 million? That's 4 million. 5% is half.
Yep. 2 million. 2 million every
Oh, that's
year.
basically exactly the same fucking number that you're giving there. Actually, it could be higher, because the question I would have asked him if I was a reporter, do you count the are you just talking about new permanent residents, or are you lumping non-permanent residents like international student and temporary foreign workers in there? Because if he's saying that he's going to welcome an extra 2 million people a year, that means you could be doubling that number. That means you could be adding another 1.8 million people every year. So that means that you're talking about 3 million people almost. You're not talking about 2 million. So he's very clever in the way that he's saying it. And our reporters are not challenging him as in, what the fuck are you saying, bro?
Yeah. And I just, it's so, it's so much of what we've seen all over the West over the last 10 years with regards to immigration, where they're just doing it, and they're either flat out lying about what they're doing, or they're being very deceptive, and they're just going by vibes and feels, and no one is voting for this. Literally, no. Like, look, if these guys were running on that platform, yeah, we're going to let 2 million immigrants every year, and they won, I would say, okay, I don't like this, I'm going to oppose this, but whatever. That's democracy. The nation has spoken, but that's not what's going on. They're telling us one thing, and then they're doing the other, and they're trying to cover it up with vibes and feels. I guarantee you, if he had said we're going to bring in 2 million new people a year, that wouldn't have flown at all. But when he says we're going to bring in 5% of the population, even though that is 2 fucking million, all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, Carney, he knows he's going to get us out of this problem. And it's I don't have any more words for it, but it's very frustrating.
But at the same time, man, that's why was that not a debate issue?
Why
they chose not to address it? And even Pierre Poilievre still wants mass immigration. He's still looking at more than 250,000 people a year, and we're not talking about the student visa. We're not talking about the foreign workers. We're just talking about the amount of new immigrants that are allowed to come here. And does those immigrants, are they different from asylum seekers? Because as I showed, the numbers are 160,000, give or take, asylum seekers every year. At least that's what we had in 2023. 160,000. 160,000.
That is bullshit.
Yeah.
That number should be like 5,000. 10,000,
if that. But
there are not that many genuine asylum seekers in the world.
No, hold on. They probably are, but are they our problem? Is the fucking question, right?
Okay, yeah. So that's a couple. Yeah,
you can probably find a lot more than that would like to that would want to come here because it's better than their country of origin. But at the same time, is it? Sorry, I didn't 160. Sorry, 146,800 is what Immigration Canada has reported in 2023, and we have 471,000 new permanent residents. So that's about 600,000 people from those two categories. So I'd be curious when Pierre Poilievre, because again, they normally don't break down the numbers, right? I had never seen those numbers broken down until I did the half an hour of research. Of course they're not. Why would they? Because those are hard hitting numbers.
Yep.
So those are the things, right? But it wasn't a debated issue. They chose not to debate immigration at the debate at the federal debate. That makes no sense to me.
Well,
0 cents.
Yeah.
Do you know one single person out there? I have not met one single person that told me we need more immigrants. We need to bring in even more people because we're not doing enough.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the fact that Poilievre didn't clearly seem to not want to bring it up, I think that's telling too. Because I think this is one of those uniparty issues. I think I think the right certainly will pay lip service to it. But I do think there's a lot of people on the right, specifically the business class, who love a large number of unskilled, uneducated workforce because that keeps wages lower for everyone else. But
at the same time, it goes worse than that, because the biggest problem that I have is how many of those actually work. Well, how many of those come here and just live? Because if you're coming here and you need financial support, why are we taking you in?
There should be, I agree.
23% of Canadians are struggling to afford daily necessities. 23%. So let's call it 1 out of 4 Canadians is struggling. We're not talking living paycheck to paycheck. That number is even more staggering. I'm just talking they cannot afford daily necessities. They're struggling on putting food on the table, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to accept 150,000 asylum seekers. We're going to give them monthly allowances so that they can set up here, buy furniture. Have you ever seen the numbers? I should bring them up at one point because the numbers are fucking insane about the amount of money that those. Oh, bro. They
keep telling us like, oh, they're a net contributor. No, they're not. Like, they're not. Just be fucking honest. If you just think there should be a lot more people brought in, and you accept that they're going to cost a lot of money, that's fine. That's a valid position. I completely disagree with it, but it's okay to hold that position. But don't lie about it. Don't say that they are net contributors, because they are not. Might they become that eventually? Yeah, sure. That's in theory, that's possible. But like, don't piss down our necks and tell us it's raining. You cannot run policy as important as an issue like this on lies. You have to just lay the facts out and then let people vote. Don't accuse them of being racist. Don't do the fucking social engineering thing that the left loves to do with the purity tests. And if you have any position on immigration other than let everyone in, they know it's very effective to call you a racist, to shut that down. That's, I'm a liberal, I'm a lefty. That's one of my main complaints about the left right now. Yes, as it relates to immigration, but just bigger picture is you can't criticize any liberal policy without being a racist, a transphobe, a homophobe, a bigot, a hater on some level. And that has to stop. You cannot decide the best policy for the country in that kind of environment.
But they'll never be totally honest about this, because
I know they won't.
The Canadians won't agree to this.
I know.
It comes down to 5% sounds a lot better than we let more than 2 million people in every year.
But the number, that's what it equals, right? And in that exact thing, you see exactly how Carney, he's smarter than Trudeau, but he's very slippery.
Do not underestimate Carney. That dude is fucking smart. Like, that is not an idiot. Let's not underestimate who Carney and what Carney is.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Should we take a couple of these comments? Because
take some comments. I really need to fucking pee. So
yeah,
take some comments.
Will do. Sasquatch Chronicles, good to see you, brother. Says Brookfield is going to build those homes, boxes for you to live in. Look it up. And Misfit continues. Basically, he's going to set up Brookfield with a government contract for tiny homes, which will enrich him and investors. So for any listeners who are not sure about the context, Brookfield is a I don't know if it's a company. I think it's like an investment fund that buys companies, and I think they plunked down $5 billion recently so eventually they're doing a huge investment in prefabricated tiny small homes. And so it's a little when he now announces $25 billion for prefab tiny homes. Like, if the government genuinely believes that's the best way to go, okay, well, show us your work. But to say when the prime minister owns or is intimately connected to one of the larger prefab home companies in Canada, it certainly is worth investigating. And in some ways, to me, it's a little disappointing that, I kind of had higher hopes for Carney. I thought he'd be a little sharper with his corruption. Like, this is just basic run-of-the-mill corruption that's not even hard to find. It's just right in front of your face. I kind of had a little higher hopes that Carney would be a little sneakier, a little slipperier, but he's just doing it straight out in the open. And of course, I'm being facetious. I'm not actually disappointed that he's being corrupt, but it certainly is. I think it shows some of the contempt that the Liberal Party has for the Canadian public, that they're going to do this so sort of out in the open. At least try to hide it a little bit.
No, but don't worry about it. It's in.
It's in a blind trust.
He doesn't know what his investments are, so it has nothing to do. This is just a massive coincidence. You know what?
Look inside yourself, Brenda. Look inside.
You're a conspiracy theorist, Rob Ambrose.
Right. Yeah,
this is totally false. Obviously, Carney has no idea that Brookfield actually dropped $5 billion on prefab technology and small houses. This is simply a coincidence. It has nothing to do with anything. Can you? Yeah, exactly, Robbie. Look within yourself. Are you fucking kidding me? Like how did we ever drop that question? Like, this is one of the things that bothers me. Why did they stop asking about what the fuck are you doing with your blind trust? Can we see?
Because he got mad at
your blind trust.
Mad at the two women.
Did it before he became the leader of the Liberal, when they were still doing, even before he had to do anything, he did it. He's just like, blind trust, because you know what that means.
Yeah.
He has an excuse to just brush it off. Hey, come on. I didn't even have to do that, but I did it for you. I made sure that I could not make money off of this. Hey, motherfucker,
it's a blind trust because he just blindly put all his money in all of his investments, and he expects blind trust from the Canadian public to not look into it. And if you do, you need to look inside yourself, Brenda.
And Brookfield, by the way, when I was peeing, I could hear you.
Yep.
Because I bring you guys to the toilet with me.
Oh, nice.
That's not weird at all. But it's like a BlackRock. Brookfield is like an investment firm. Like, it's just on a smaller scale, but it's like a BlackRock. So, I don't know. It's all coincidences. Stop with the conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theories are.
And of course, he has no idea if he's still invested in prefab homes. None whatsoever.
No, of course not. He has nothing to do with Brookfield anymore. Obviously, it's in a blind trust.
Yeah. Sylvie says, no government should be involved in home building. If you live in government-owned home, you're fugged. I think, maybe you can make the case that the government could provide at least incentives or tax benefits if they want to, but I agree they should not be out there building homes.
No, fuck no, like hell no, like blind trust.
Misfit, I think, says what we're all thinking. LMAO, blind trust in all caps. Ha 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 ha.
It should be the complete opposite. It's not. It's in a blind trust. We should say that the government trusts the blind.
Blindly. Yeah.
They trust that we're blind.
They trust that we're blind. That's the best way to put it. Misfit says, fuck, I got clean coffee on my desk. Yes, 100%.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. We keep it entertaining, bro.
Yeah. Robin says, Carney wants us to live by his motto, blind trust. More than half the country have shown us we already do live this way. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
They expect us to trust blindly and not look into it. Now, this is a good point from Sylvie. She says it was reported that 60% of international students never show up for class. So I saw that. To your point about immigration being actually at the heart of the housing problem, and I think there's no doubt about that. But that's one of the things is that many students came in and never show up for class, and I think this is the American Intelligence Agency is quite concerned about this because clearly this is being used as people as a sort of backdoor to get into Canada, and from here, who knows where they go? Maybe they do go down to the States.
Yeah, I saw those numbers, but the reason I did not bring it up is because I did not want to be wrong. Because the numbers, like I'm looking right now, 50,000. They're saying in March and April 2024, nearly 50,000 international students who were granted study permits to come to Canada were reported as no-show. So basically, you're talking about 7%. Of the 700 international students. See, even just those numbers are wrong because Immigration Canada said that there's more than 1 million and they're saving 700,000. I looked at the actual. So there's a massive disconnect. But let's say for sake of argument that it is, because if it's 1 million, 50,000 is less than 0.5%. 50,000 people have entered your country under a student visa and they
never
don't
showed up to
show up.
class.
I don't give a fuck that this is less than this is 0.5%. 50,000 people entered your country and did not do what they were accepted in the country to do. How are you not fucking looking for those people to kick them out? Like, are you fucking kidding me? 50,000 people. How many of those are living off the system? How many of those are don't even think like terrorism. Like how many of those are milking the country for their resources? Don't even think about how many of those are criminal. Well, technically they would be criminals now.
Mm-hmm.
Because don't you become a criminal if you are accepted in a country for studies and you don't show up to class? You're not meeting a certain requirement. If that's not criminal right now, it fucking should be.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it is. And as you said, like, you know, there certainly is terrorism concerns with that. But let's just, for sake of argument, put aside those. Let's assume not one of them is a terrorist. They have to eat. Right, they have to earn money in some way, and so they're either working under the table for someone, which is taking jobs from Canadians, or they're just, you know, they're getting benefits and sucking on the government teeth. The fact of the matter is they are draining the Canadian economic system, and they are not really contributing other than whatever GST tax they pay for things that they buy, but that is clearly not going to offset the cost of having them here. It's just it's a broken system. And Carney is essentially saying he's putting lipstick on a pig. He's keeping the same system in place while changing the tone and the vibe and saying, oh, yeah, I know we have a problem, and hoping that you guys don't do the math. 5%. He sounds good. Like, but no one's asking, OK, what is that? What were we at before? What we were at last year? Oh, 5%. Oh, OK. So it's no change at all. But of course, no one's asking that. And that is, if nothing else, that is the job of the media. That is absolutely what the media's job is to do. So you said 5%, but did you know that doesn't represent a drop at all in the immigration numbers? Where's that question? You know, I mean, it's so easy to do, but you know that if any liberal reporter asks that question, or just any reporter at all, they'll be, you know, blacklisted. Did you see the hate online for the two female reporters who asked an absolutely reasonable question about the blind trust? They were roasted. They were told that they should resign, that they should be fired. I think one of them was doxxed. It's, you know, these are this is designed to keep people in line, to prevent you from asking the hard questions.
Excuse my ignorance here, but when you say docs, that's when people reveal your personal information on.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe
what it is.
Had like
they leak your information. They can
address,
find you,
private phone number, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm right there with. Yeah, this is again, but yet as much as I dislike Rebel News, I'm not a fan. I respect what they do, but I'm just not a fan of their content. At the same time, what they did to Ezra, like you have a very liberal, remember during the election debate, a very liberal guy is losing his shit towards Ezra. They close the debate. Ezra's escorted out. That's unacceptable, right?
Agreed.
Like this is what you're seeing, right? He didn't do anything wrong. I watched the whole clip. He didn't do anything wrong in that clip. And now this is the right. I'm used to that. This, to me, I expect this from the left-leaning media, to favor their left-leaning, flipping out, emotional guy and not liking Ezra. I get it. But now they did it to their own. Like those reporters were left-leaning reporters. And because they're women. Man, I would love for them to be black on top of that and trans. That'd be the fucking end. But all to say that they dared to ask question and not let it go. Because I think that's why they probably got in shit, because they could have just let it go. They didn't. Like I listened to those and I'm like, God damn, those are our reporters.
But
woo! Like, this was actually
absolutely
reporting.
They weren't badgering him in anything. It was just real reporting. You know, you get a question, you can do a follow-up question, and that's all it was.
You didn't answer the fucking question.
Yeah.
I'll ask it again. Yes, that's what you should do. That's what fucking journalists should be doing.
That's when he said, "Look inside yourself, Brenda," or whatever the fuck her name was. And then of course that set the tone. And I haven't heard any serious question about that topic since then. So again, you know, Carney knows what he's doing.
Shut up, Sylvie. I think I know what it is, doxing. I just want to make sure, because I'm not the coolest.
So
I'm not the coolest with all the new trend, the new cool people trend. But So see how she's calling you Robbie? I fucking
Yes,
love
I
that,
saw that.
Sylvie.
I
Thank
saw
you.
that, yes.
But Nico doesn't know what a doxing is. I know what doxing is. I just need to make sure. I try not to talk out of my ass, although I sometimes do. But
Right.
yeah, no, it is true that Robbie did not know what a Discord server was. At least,
Yeah.
but you know what, Sylvie? I'm going to point out something. If you're going to write Discord, don't put 2 C's in it.
No,
So I guess
Sylvie.
just saying. So she makes fun of me for not making sure what doxing is.
Yeah.
Robbie for not knowing what the Discord is. But
So you're down there with us.
Don't know how to
Sylvie.
spell.
You're down there with us. Down there in the gutter. Welcome.
And see, this is why our show is great, because people have a sense of
course,
humor.
we are just teasing you, Sylvie, just like you're teasing us, I'm sure.
Now, I think we've covered the Trump annex in Canada. Obviously, you and I both have a massive problem with the way our immigration is being ran. But one of the things we wanted to talk about today is what's going on in Alberta right now. Like, I'm sure you've heard that there is one of Pierre Poilievre's MP that has graciously offered his position in Alberta, so he will step down as MP in order to allow Pierre Poilievre to run in his riding. The name of the MP is Damien Keurig, and he offered gently, and of course he was. I don't know if he was asked. To me, sounds fishy as shit because
he was definitely given something.
He won by 81%. Like he won that, so it is a very safe riding. And as much as liberals are ripping into Poilievre for doing this, I want to point out, like I've done on my social this weekend, there's a good reason Carney chose Nepean in Ottawa and he didn't run in Alberta where he's from. Just pointing it out here. They all fucking do that. They all try to get the safest riding in order to be elected, to make sure that they can be on the MP floor as the leader of their party. Now, the question is, should Maxime Bernier go out of his way to run against Pierre Poilievre in by-elections? Because this is a problem that I'm seeing, and I have a very interesting conversation going on my X account about that, because I just reshared what a leftist posted, and I'm like, okay, what, are we not a democracy in Canada? If Pierre Poilievre is allowed to do this, why wouldn't Maxime Bernier try to run against him? Why wouldn't the NDP run against him? Why wouldn't a Green Party run against him? Yeah, their chances of winning are extremely low, but why wouldn't they do it? And it's interesting because I found a video I wanted to show about this. It just goes into more detail as to what this is all about. But what's interesting is that they're talking to regular people, and I don't know that I'd be curious to see what the numbers are, even amongst the conservative. Is that something that they're okay with? Because technically I can understand how a lot of the people don't necessarily vote for the leader of the party, but they vote for the representative, for the MP. And if I'm living in a certain riding, I would like somebody that's local to my riding, that cares about me, that knows the problem in our community, that's going to fight for us in Parliament. At least that's the idea, right? Now you have a guy that does not come from there, that has a riding in Carleton, and that clearly is, like, let's not lie to each other. As much as you can agree with what Pierre Poilievre is doing or disagree with it, he's not running there because he has the best interests of the people over there. He's just picking a very easy to win riding so that he can keep his job as the leader of the Conservative Party. Like, if you don't think that's it, you're clearly biased, right?
Oh yeah, that's it. That's definitely it.
Here's a quick video I wanted to show. It's like a minute and a half, but I found it interesting because they do talk to people in the street. And considering that the Conservatives won by 81%, I was kind of surprised. But obviously, they probably chose those interviews to show, because most of the people were probably okay with it. But let's see the video and we'll talk afterwards.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre will run for a seat in an Alberta by-election. The news bringing delight to some in Camrose on the northwest edge of the Battle River Crowfoot riding.
Overwhelmingly excited and grateful.
Totally for it.
And disappointment for others.
Not the greatest, at all.
The Battle River Crowfoot riding runs from Camrose down to Drumheller and east to the Saskatchewan border. The MP-elect, Damian Keurig, will step aside. He was first elected in 2019 and won by more than 46,000 votes Monday. Poilievre needs a seat after losing his Ottawa area riding.
I'd love to know what they
Carleton.
offered him.
It was a very hopeful campaign that the Conservatives ran on, and I am grateful that Mr. Poilievre will continue to fight.
In a statement, Poilievre writes, "It is with humility and appreciation that I have accepted Damian Keurig's offer. I will work to earn the trust of the good people of Battle River Crowfoot." Keurig says he
Not the
intends
bad
to
ones,
run
though.
in his riding again
Not the
in
bad
the
ones.
next federal election.
Yeah, you can almost picture him being like, "I will work tirelessly to promote the interests of the people of Battleford." You can pick,
but only the good ones. He
only
doesn't
the good
care about
ones,
the bad
though.
ones.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants a safe seat. He wants a temporary seat, and that combination may not be particularly satisfying to the people that live in that region.
Not a huge supporter of Damian Keurig, but he was from here. And is Poilievre going to actually deliver anything for our riding?
That guy did not vote for
Separatist
Damian
Darcy
Keurig.
Bjorgi says he
No,
doesn't
I
want
was
an
going
Ottawa
to-
voice here at all.
I'm just done. It's always the same.
On Friday, Prime Minister Mark Carney promised no games when it comes to Poilievre's path back to Parliament.
If it's the decision of him and the Conservative Party to trigger, if I can put it that way, a by-election, I will ensure that it happens as soon as possible.
Many of Poilievre's potential constituents say they have one clear expectation.
I would expect him to move here, yeah.
Morgan Black, Global News.
It's
You know, hold on. Just
You go
before,
ahead,
shit, what was I going to say? You look at the two main differences between the last guy that didn't like him and the younger guy. Younger guy at the beginning is all buff. He seems like in super good shape. Yes, that's great. Little fat guy at the end. "Oh, I'm not okay with this." Like, say what you will. Say what you will. That doesn't look good. Like, obviously that guy did not vote for Keurig. Like, I think I agree with you on that one. I'd be very curious, but you know that guy did not embrace Keurig. But I'd be curious to see what he's going to get for this, though.
I think Misfit, I think, probably hit the nail on the head here. Kirk is probably going to get a good position in the caucus. We will probably see him back. Almost certainly it's something like, in the next election, we're going to give you a safe seat. And when you get elected, you're going to become, maybe not a cabinet member, but you'll be up there. He'll be rewarded for sure. He didn't just do this out of the goodness of his heart. And I'm okay with that. That's how this stuff works. That's politics.
Stop thinking that. Stop it. This
What's
was.
that?
I guarantee you that Pierre Poilievre did not look for the easiest riding in Canada. That Keurig really did that out of the goodness.
No, he definitely no. I was saying he did not do it out of the goodness of his heart. He.
I
There's
think
something.
sarcastic, bro.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Obviously,
Gotcha,
they looked at the best place he could run.
Of course.
And
imagine how humiliating it would be if he lost again, right? But he won't. One thing that I thought, I think me and you,
we will cover the shit out of this because I'm very, because if he were to lose that riding,
I think
you're done. You're just done. You're done. Bye-bye.
You're done. I think me and you are both surprised that there's doesn't seem to be any push to get Poilievre out. He seems to have the full backing of the Conservative Party, or at least I'm surprised.
But even Carney, he just said in the video right there from his I was
going to bring that up.
His press conference, but at the same time, it makes sense.
I think
it totally makes sense.
I think because you see, like I've seen some people say like, oh, liberals saying like, oh yeah, we should really put money in it and make sure he loses this one too. I guarantee Carney would tell that person to shut the fuck up. He will say he will do everything he wants to, because and that to me that's a little concerning. Carney clearly wants Poilievre as the Conservative leader, and I guess you could say, well, I beat him once, I'll beat him again if you're in Carney's position. But Carney clearly would rather go against Poilievre again than whoever else might replace him. And so he's being and it works for Carney because it allows him to look, like magnanimous. He's sort of like, oh, I'm above politics. I'll do whatever I can to help him. But in reality, if he thought that Poilievre was an actual threat to him, he would be doing everything he could to stop it.
Yes, he beat him once, and he's not worried about him. But I don't think Poilievre is his strongest opposition either.
No,
like he would not want to go against a real conservative.
Oh yeah, that's why I think he wants to make sure Poilievre.
100%. That's why. Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
He knows exactly who he is. He knows what he's dealing with. There's nothing surprising is going to come out of Poilievre on that election. And to me, that's why, and that was the whole point, right? Is a lot of the conservatives out there, a lot of the comments that I've seen, especially about what I'm asking here, should Bernier run against Poilievre? Because that's one thing, right? If you're having a by-election, that means that the MP steps down, Pierre Poilievre comes up as the new candidate, but that also opens the door to other candidates to show up, right? So who's to say that a Maxime Bernier is not going to run? Because he hinted to it that at least a PPC leader, a PPC member would. Did
he hint it with him personally?
Obviously. What do you think? Like, do you think he's going to want somebody else to go against Pierre Poilievre? No, it would be Maxime Bernier would go after. Obviously, that's pretty simple to see. If they're going to put somebody there, it's going to be him. He's going to put himself there. But a lot of people.
That would be a fascinating race, to be honest, because it could be it'll be essentially a referendum on Poilievre himself. If you are a conservative and you want him to step down, you're going to go out and vote for Bernier. Now that said, I think he's going to win the seat.
It's a very easy riding, but you know what? I don't know. It's not going to be at 81%. That's for sure. And especially not right now where there's so much thing going on in Alberta at the same time, because, today we're supposed to see an announcement from Danielle Smith as per the separation, where they're standing in that separation with, I'm just going to go check as we're talking to make sure.
I think it said 3 p.m. and I'm not sure if she means Calgary time.
If it's her time, that means it's at least 5 o'clock.
We'll cover it tomorrow. And in fact, we'll probably post it in the Discord server. So guys, go over and check that out as well.
I'm just trying to see. Yeah, you're right. Like it says that this Monday at 3 p.m. we'll deliver a live address to Albertans.
I assume that's
path forward. It's hard to tell. It's hard. That's why I always put EST in our post. She could have done.
Now let me throw something out to you out there. So as you said, it's an easy.
Throw something out to you out there.
Let me run.
Okay, let's do that.
Let's. What did I do the other day? Fuck.
It's self-policing.
It's self-policing itself. Yes, the police will self-police itself. But so let me run this by you then. As you say, super easy seat, but that's an easy seat as it goes to conservative versus liberal. There's no way a liberal is going to win that seat. However, perhaps the 81% suggests, it does suggest it's a very conservative seat. So perhaps it's actually not so easy when your other real opponent is an even more conservative person than you are. So perhaps it's very safe if he's running against a liberal, but maybe it's not quite so safe if he's running against another conservative.
Well, this is where I was going with this. It's if he's running against a Maxime Bernier, I don't see him debating him. I don't see it. I don't think if Pierre Poilievre, in my opinion, does not have the balls to debate Maxime Bernier. I don't think he has it in him to debate him. I don't see it happening. If he does, I'll stand corrected and I will fucking apologize live on air if he had the balls to do it. I don't see it, but maybe I'm wrong. That being said, what I'm curious to see is I don't see that, like you said, I don't see it becoming a liberal.
No, there's no threat of that.
It's not going to become an NDP or a Green Party, even if they have somebody there. Not happening. But where I think I would be very curious to see is how many people that voted for the Conservative Party, because it was something like 81% of that riding is conservative. How many of those 81% would not only vote for Maxime Bernier, but would vote against Poilievre for Maxime Bernier because they're not happy that the person that they chose to represent him decided to step down? Because clearly, bullshit that he did that out of the goodness of his heart. Bullshit. I don't believe that for a second.
Nobody thinks that. No serious person thinks that.
And well, Pierre Poilievre clearly does in his address there, but
I think he knows.
I agree with you. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Couric for stepping down out of
Battle
yeah.
Creek.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Whatever that place in Alberta.
Yeah,
But
you know it.
we can argue on that. It's fine. We're fucking around, but chances are it did not happen.
No.
But how many of those 81% are going to vote against Pierre Poilievre because they have to vote again now? They don't get to vote for the person that's been in the video. He said that he's been representing the people of that riding since 2019. So he's not a new guy. He's been reelected again. So that means that they like the guy, obviously. So do they like the fact that they're going to switch? And let's assume that the guy at the end of the video did vote for Couric, which bullshit, but sake of argument, let's say that he did. How many of those that voted for him are not going to be happy about this? That I'm curious to see.
Well, and how many of those 81% were people who would have voted PPC if there wasn't the whole vote splitting debate? Because now, remember, vote splitting is not a factor anymore. There's no way. It's not like
not in this case. You mean not in this case?
In this one, right? It's because there's no way. Like we already know, Carney will be prime minister. So it doesn't matter in that regard. So if you're just a PPC voter, like you're probably gonna vote PPC, I think. You know, and it'll be interesting. Yeah, Sasquatch says, Canada is my new favorite TV series. I hope the new season Carney makes Elizabeth May speaker. Please make this happen. I believe I might have seen something. I don't know if it was a joke, but I think, I think it was Elizabeth May saying, "Oh, I'd be open to it." Now, it might maybe her being ridiculous, but I agree. It's sort of like
I'm open to be Speaker of the House too. That doesn't mean I'm gonna be.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
Hey, Sasquatch, can you stop? Don't give them fucking ideas. Stop it. Don't do it. Stop. Don't put it out there. You're putting karma energy behind it. Don't do it, please. But I agree, man. If I wasn't a Canadian. I wasn't a Canadian watching this. It's like the new hot series on Netflix.
Yeah.
You're just like, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen today.
Like, it's got to tune in. And it's been a long time since Canadian politics has been interesting like that.
Yeah, but it's not a good interesting.
No.
You kind of want all the time.
Kind of want it to be boring, right? Like politics should be boring, but it's only
in a
interesting
good word. Yes.
Yeah, when shit's going
in a good world, it's boring. It's very. I don't want it to be entertaining. It is dangerous when it's entertaining.
I agree with that. Wise guy says Max would make vaccine mandates and illegal immigration his main topics. Pierre won't go there.
I agree.
I think
freedom
honestly,
of speech at least.
I think there's a lot of reasons why Bernier would want to do that, and I think it makes a lot of sense for Bernier because it could be his way to get one PPC seat, but also it allows him to put some things on the table that clearly Poilievre does not want to talk about it, and I think there's a lot of value in that.
I don't see, even if it was ran perfectly, I don't see him ever winning that seat. I don't see it. But what I do see, though, and this is where I would like to see, is to have a debate, to have an open place where they can actually talk policies, and for the conservative people out there that don't necessarily follow Maxime Bernier, that don't know who that guy what he actually stands for, to get a first idea of what he is, what he stands for. Because I've said it and I'll say it again. The conservatives are not real conservatives. They're not even conservatives for Canadian. The PPC is more conservative than them, and I don't find them to be conservative enough. So it's one of those things where, at least if they're open to the idea of seeing somebody else propose different policies that align more with conservatives, because like immigration, to me, wise guy is bang on. If you make it about conservatism, you make it about no men and women's sports, you make it around the economy, you bash it in around all the differences that Maxime has compared to the conservative, it could open a lot of eyes. I'd be curious to see if it would matter or not. And the fact that he gets to do it against the party leader, this is why it's so important, in my opinion, for a Maxime Bernier. If somebody's going to do it, it needs to be Maxime. It needs to be leader against leader, because no matter what comes out of it, what Pierre Poilievre is going to have to say during that campaign is going to resonate for the rest of the next 4 years.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
so we'll see. I want to see it just because
that's a great point.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see the debates. I want to see them run against each other. To me, it's just democracy. It's fair. If he wants to do it, great. It's not like I'm going to write him personally and say, Maxime, you need to do this. If he does it, great. If he doesn't, well, that's dropping the ball if you ask me. But I'd be curious I'm really curious to see it.
Yeah, I agree. Misfit here agrees. It says if Bernier wanted to run, then let him. It's democracy, right? And it is indeed. I mean, at the end of the day, look, if you're worried about Poilievre go in that seat that's 81% conservative, then I mean, how like you clearly have no then why do you support him as a leader if you don't think he can win in this seat? You know what I mean? Like it should be a slam dunk, right? At some point, he has to fucking win. He's got to go up against some adversity. You can't just keep clearing paths for the guy and then still say, but he's my leader. Like he has to have the ability. If he doesn't have the ability to win this seat, he has no ability whatsoever to win anything ever in Canada. So, I mean, everybody should support Bernier to go in there, if only to allow Poilievre to actually, hone his skills and hone his arguments to be able to set himself up for whenever the next general election is, 4 years.
And I'm going through Maxime Bernier's X right now to see if he has announced it publicly, because right now I don't see anything. I just see rumors.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it would only make sense that he does.
Yep. Yeah. It makes perfect sense why Bernier would want it. Moonglow. Not sure if you might be. I'm not sure if you commented here before, but if this is your first time, welcome. He says, don't like Bernier. He's too full of hate and pettiness. Certainly a valid take. I mean, it's everyone here has their own takes, their own opinions. We had him on the show here. I didn't see him as full of hate. I'm going to say pettiness. Yeah, maybe a lot of politicians are petty. I personally, obviously I certainly didn't vote for Bernier nor would have, but I think there's definitely value in him entering this race, if only to get discussion on some issues that were ignored during the main election.
Why? Let me ask you this. Why do you think he's full of hate and pettiness? Is it because he always attacks Pierre Poilievre? Is it because I've seen those comments before and we had spoke? I'm pretty sure he spoke about it on the episode that we did with him as to why is he always going after the Conservatives? And it's simple, because he's not going to debate the Liberals. The Liberals are not his part. He cannot take voters from the Liberals and turn them into the PPC.
Well, it's like me. I'm always criticizing the left, and I get people say, "Well, are you sure you're a liberal? Are you sure?" Well, it's like, yes.
And I'm always going to go after the Conservatives because they're supposed to represent me, and I don't feel represented.
Exactly. And as Jason says when he's on the show, sometimes he'll be like, look, it isn't the right that is supposed to represent me. It's the left. And if I see the left not representing me, or in your case, if I see the right not representing me, I'm going to speak out against that. It doesn't mean you hate the right or hate conservatives. It means you are one and you don't like the direction that they're going. But I would like to...
On the contrary, I like the Conservatives so much that I want them to do better.
Well, yeah, right. It's an act of love.
I want real conservatism in Canada, not the left-leaning fiscal policy party. I want a real conservative party in Canada. I don't have it, so I'm going to criticize them.
And guys, if you are watching, because it's probably buried down in our YouTube channel, but if you just go to YouTube and do Political Orphans Maxime Bernier, you can watch that episode. And it was an excellent interview. I think we got a lot of really good feedback from it, but I thought it was informative, but it wasn't, we weren't trying to trap them or trick them. We were just asking them questions, me from the left, Nico from the right. And I think it's definitely worth a watch if you guys are interested in Canadian politics at all.
Agreed.
Moonglow says, thank you. Enjoy your show. First time watching. Hey, no worries. We appreciate you taking the time to comment, Moonglow, and hopefully you stick around. And you'll see that this show is a little bit different. We value all kinds of opinions. We might ask for some clarification, like as Nico just said. On your piece.
And please let us know, man, because I'm really curious. We ask listeners questions all the time. That's the whole point. We want to be able to have a conversation with you guys. But what was it? I appreciate your comment, obviously, but I wanted to know where it came from, because he seemed reasonable to me. I've met Maxime Bernier in 2017 when we spoke to him on the show. He was really reasonable. Agree with him or not, that's a different story. Like him or not, again, that's a different story. But I'd never got the hate or pettiness.
Yeah, I will agree with
but
that.
Is it, again, is he, when you say hate, is he like, oh, he's a hater of the Conservative Party? You know, like not a hate as in burned to the stake, as in he's only complaining about the Conservative. Like, again, I'm not that cool.
I could see that.
I'm really not that cool and hip and all that shit. So that's why I'm asking, like, Moonglow, is your hate as in he's always hating on the Conservative and don't seem to be hating on the Liberals? Or is it really hate as in he really
Like
is a dislikable
or something? Yeah.
Because racism is not a hate. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis?
Well, just I don't think he's racist at all, but you do see that argument leveled against him.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but I like this one too. I like Sasquatch Chronicles.
Yeah,
you guys have become my favorite Canadian channel to watch.
We appreciate that,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You never know what's going to happen in Canada. It's the best show on TV right now.
Yeah,
as you said earlier. It's a great series, and we don't know how many episodes.
This is the best show covering that show.
Yeah, it's the best show covering that show.
Yeah, exactly. Misfit says even Pierre said in a few interviews that men shouldn't be in women's spaces. No doubt did he say it. If you remember, I think it was our Thursday episode. The theme of that day was beating the drum. It wasn't that he didn't say these things. He didn't hit it again and again and again and again. And I just fundamentally believe that in politics, that's what you want to do. You want to get your 2 or 3 main topics and just fucking beat that drum again and again and again. Now, obviously his team didn't agree with that strategy, but I think me and Nico both agree that's probably one of the ways he went wrong.
And this is exactly it. Like, it's what I'm not saying. He's done a lot of interviews. So of course, he probably mentioned that somewhere. I know that he supports people, women especially, that made big audiences talking against men and women's sports. So I know that he's not against it. What I'm saying is that he doesn't beat the drum.
Yeah.
Economy / GDP, crime rate, men and women's sports. What were the other ones? Free speech. We can probably find another one. It's just not coming off the top of my head, but we could find another one. And that immigration, pow, right there, 5. He could have made it about this and only talk about this. Yes, he's going to have his rallies and he's going to have conversations with other people, although he didn't do a lot of interviews. But just to say, you can talk in long form content about other things. But at the end of the day, you need to have specific topics for the people that don't know you. If somebody in social media, man, if you go to any of my social, you know what I stand for. You know the type of guy that I am. It's no fucking surprise because I beat that fucking drum all the fucking time. It's written everywhere. He did not take advantage of marketing 101. He did not do.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Your base should be fucking fed up of hearing you talking about those 5 topics, and we had that exactly. This is exactly where
I think it was Robin too, and she was like, "He talked about that. I was getting annoyed," and I think you had said,
"But that's how it should be.
It should be.
That's how it should be."
Yeah.
We are so bombarded with information that you need to take a stance. Figure out 4, 5, 6 things that you're going to stand for, and hit it. Because at the end of the day, Pierre Poilievre was not talking to his base.
No,
that's why his rally are for. He's there to show up and rally the troop. But he needed to convince guys like Rob to say, you need to vote for me. Why? Economy, men and women's sports, crime rate, immigration, and free speech. Pow. Every single person that is looking to vote against the Liberals would have voted for Pierre Poilievre. And if you look at a Maxime Bernier, you know what he stands for. He beats the drum on the same shit, and he's always fucking drumming the same shit, and he's been doing it since 2017. It's very easy to go on Maxime Bernier and see what he stands for. Same thing with Carney. Carney's very easy to see what he stands for. More social services and bad orange man down south. That's it. That's all he's talked about.
But if you want to know how he beat the drum about Trump, and
every day, every fucking day, every second post was about something that he's going to stand up to Trump. Why didn't Poilievre do that with those 4, 5, 6 issues? Beat that drum, beat that drum, beat that drum, beat that drum. That's it.
100%.
Moonlight, I think, Moonglow, sorry, is basically saying that yes, hating on the conservatives.
Yeah.
Well, bro, who is he going to hate on? The liberals?
Yeah.
The conservative hate on the liberals?
Criticism.
No, but he's not going to win there. If there's something, in my opinion, that Maxime did well, is to go after the conservative, because this is who he's trying to compete with. He's not competing against the liberals. Chances are, if you think that conservatives are mini Trumps,
you're not paying attention.
Maxime Bernier is so far off your scale that you're not even looking at him. Exactly. You're not paying attention.
And the reason why so many people do, especially on the left, is because fucking Carney beat that drum again and again and again and again. And no, it wasn't fair. No, it was not correct and it wasn't accurate, but it was effective. And in politics, that's what really matters. Yeah, I was just going to take those Athabasca ones. First of all, I think this is your first comment here, Athabasca. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, he's on Rumble.
He
says
he is. Bernier seems very reasonable compared to Poilievre. And he continues down here with Bernier was unfairly jacketed with bigotry because he stood up to mass immigration. I think that's a great point. I think it's so disingenuous and it's just such bad faith for the left. And they do it on purpose. But what they do is anybody who has any, I'm not even talking about criticizing immigration. I'm just saying speaking up and saying, you know, maybe we should look at this a little more. Maybe we should have some sort of a pause or just reassess our immigration policy. They'll call you a racist. That's utterly absurd. And I think we all know why they do it. They do it to shut down debate. They do it to shut down dissent. But it's our fault for allowing them to do that. We should never allow people in bad faith to shut down debate because we're afraid of the names that they're going to call us. And I know, you know, on the left, they've been very effective at that, and it's very effective at silencing liberals. And I get it all the time. I get called a racist or a far-right Nazi just because I sometimes speak up on immigration and because I don't believe men can become women. And so, you know, I'm not. Most of the people in here, I think, don't. You know, they already know this message. I'm just saying, on the left, I really wish the left got away from that sort of character assassination. Now, we all know it's not going to happen, but we can still dream, I guess.
Agreed, man. I totally agree. Welcome, Athabasca. If suggestion for you, because I do see that you're on my Rumble account. If you don't have anything against YouTube, you could go join the conversation there. Because man, the comments on YouTube are a lot more plentiful than they are on Rumble. But if you're on Rumble, I understand why.
Because I think he can't see. If you're on Rumble, you can't see all the other comments, right? Yeah. So if you're good,
no. I'm looking at it right now. All he's seeing is between well, because Rusty Wiener is also on my Rumble. I get that's why bro, there's a good reason why I maintain a Rumble account. I get you in a lot of my personal podcasts that are not this, but the Unwoken with Nico Lagan can't post that anywhere else except Rumble, or else I get banned all the time. So I feel you, bro. I feel you. I'm just saying, if you want to join the conversation with other members on YouTube, the conversation's bigger there. Although, continue talking there, because maybe the algorithm's going to push more on Rumble, and there's going to be a bigger amount of people talking there. So, Rusty Wiener, by the way, great fucking name. Just so you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. And the picture, I hope the picture's not you, because that picture is fucking epic, bro. That is some redneck shit.
Oh, yeah, just
meth smoking redneck right there.
Yeah. Moonglow says, I voted PPC a few elections, but he wasn't hitting the notes in Portage Lisgar a few years ago. Max had it in the bag. Oh, Portage. Had it in the bag. Max is too focused on the conservatives. And I did see you down here, threw a little tip out there, Moonglow. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. And just, I guess now is probably a good time, just guys, because we're just starting doing this.
Hold on, before you do, I'm going to cut you off just to say one thing. Stu, that keeps on giving us a tip, you should join.
Yeah, just become a member.
Yeah, because man, you could go to Discord too. Starting today, we're gonna start promoting it. And same thing to you, kind sir, Moonglow. If you like Discord, if you're If you know what Discord is. If not, I can explain it to you, just like I did Robbie this morning.
Yeah.
But
I can see it in your eyes. You just really want to explain it again.
I'm gonna use Robbie all the time, and I'm gonna make
yeah.
sure that people know you didn't know what it was.
Fucker.
But for 99 cents more, you could have become a member, a monthly member, and even join and come and shoot the shit and talk about politics on our Discord server.
Yeah, so which is probably is good segue just to very quickly explain what's going on there. So we have introduced members through YouTube. So it starts at $2.99 a month, and it allows, first of all, it allows just to support the show if you believe, like we do, that there's a need for this kind of a show and this kind of discourse. But for the perks is you'll get priority in your comments in here, but you also over on the Discord server that we just created literally today, or I guess the weekend, but that is an extension of the community we're trying to create here. Only obviously it runs 24/7 and not just the 2.5 hours that the show is on. But hopefully if you've been able to pick up from watching today, we are the Political Orphans. I'm a liberal, common sense liberal. Nico's a common sense conservative. And pretty much most people who identify as political orphans and that are regular watchers of the show, the one thing we have in common, there's people all over the political spectrum. The one thing we have in common is just a disgust with politics as usual. And just the way political discourse is now, where it's just us against them. It's very tribal. If someone disagrees with you, they're not just wrong, they're the enemy, right? And you have to hate them. And that's what we just see as fundamentally not productive way to have these sorts of discussions. So this is a different kind of a place. And so if that lines up with your values, wherever you sit on the political spectrum, then you'll fit in here well. And if you do want to help build this community, that's probably the best way to do it, is just get that, that $2.99 a month as a way to support us. But also it allows you to jump over to the Discord server where you're going to be able to, if there's a topic you want to talk about that fits in the Political Orphans sort of mandate, you can post it over there. You can make suggestions about content that we should cover, guests we should interview. If you aren't a member here, you can still go over there on the Discord server and I believe you're on read only, so you can watch the conversations, but you can't join in. And the reason we do that is just we've noticed an uptick in our followers, but with that, unfortunately, comes an uptick in some trolls. So that small monthly fee kind of allows us to, no one's going to pay any money just to go and troll someone. So they'll get rid of 99.9% of them. So yeah, that's what we're doing there. So if you do appreciate this, that's the best way to support us.
I just wanted to see, because on Rumble, Rusty Nail and Athabasca are talking about Athabasca recommended at Rusty Wiener, sorry, not Rusty Nail, Rusty Wiener, Rules for Radicals, a good book I recommend.
Is that the one that you're showing?
I have 2 fucking copies of this book, because if you want to understand how the woke mind virus came to be, Saul D. Alinsky is the guy that put it together. Like, he was very scary how brilliant that guy is.
Was he critiquing it, or was he supporting
No,
it?
it's because of him that exists. He kind of put together the idea that Marxism shouldn't just be about have and have nots, but you can base it on emotion. Like because this is the difference between the woke
feelings of victimhood and oppression
and Marxism. No, it's just that you can make it about emotion. So on a day's notice, you can change what your whole value system is, because it's based on how you feel. If you make it tangible against I have and the have and the haves, or have nots and the haves, this is tangible. It's about money. But if you remove that and you make it, I can identify on whatever the fuck I want, and as soon as I identify as something else, I'm oppressed. That means anybody can be oppressed at any given time. This is the brilliancy of a guy like Saul D. Alinsky. So yes, it is a great book. I totally agree. Athabasca, if Rusty Wiener, you never read this is scary, bro. This is scary. But keep in mind that he was a mentor to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah,
because he's dead. Obviously, he died years and years ago. But he was a mentor to Hillary Clinton, and this is a book that Obama has bragged to have on his how do you call it? His bedside table. So even Obama is fully fucking aware of it, of course. But people don't read books anymore. So if they say, "Oh, Rules for Radicals," that sounds radical. they think that radical is a cool surfer expression. It ain't. It's just how to win crowds and how to fuck with people. So it's a great book. If it's scary, but in hindsight, because I think it was written in the 70s or something like that. This edition is
that long ago.
1981. Yeah, it's copyrighted. Fuck, I was bang on. Copyrighted for 1971 by Saul Dialinsky. This is an 1889 copy, but it's still 1971. So yeah,
nice. I'm gonna check that out. A Sasquatch Chronicle says, Rob, are you sure you're a liberal? You don't call people racist, Nazis, and other names. You don't like Tesla cars on fire. So you don't even key cars. You may not be a liberal, bro. Yeah, I mean, honest, I know you're sort of fucking around here, but I actually get those sorts of questions. And I think it's a sad commentary on the state of liberalism or classical liberalism that's what people think. Because I agree, the vast majority of the left right now engages in those sorts of things. I fundamentally see the left as diseased, as broken, and I think to the extent that I think it's possible, I may just be being naive, but I'm still going to put up a fight. I'm trying to get us back to a place of classical liberalism, if you want to call it that. Anti-woke liberalism, if you want to call it that, because I think that wokeness is actually probably the worst thing for if you genuinely believe in progressive causes or liberal causes. Wokeism is setting that back decades. So that's sort of my take on it. And I'm aware that it might be a fool's errand. It might be too late. There might be no way to fix it. But I'm still gonna try. But yeah, I agree. It seems a little. It doesn't seem. I understand that it doesn't seem like there's too many common sense liberals out there. We do exist. It's just most of us have either identified as centrists or even, moderate conservatives, or just kind of keep their mouths shut and just because we're so outnumbered. But I'm trying to go a different way. I'm trying to speak out, and maybe it makes me, on the left, I get all kinds of criticism. They call me a far right Nazi and a bigot because I don't believe that men can give birth. But, okay, I'm still here. We're still fighting the fight, and if nothing else, I'm definitely a political orphan with the rest of you guys. So that's really probably the most accurate descriptor of me right now.
And you know what? That's funny because the liberals are too liberal for Rob, and for me, the conservative are not conservative enough.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. It's funny how that goes.
The liberal on this show voted conservative, and the conservative on this show could not vote for the conservative or the PPC.
And I think what that is a reflection of.
And clearly, I did not vote for the liberals either.
The Overton window just completely has to shift, I think.
We're way too left. Any of the parties are too left for my liking, and I can't condone them. So,
yeah, I agree. As Robin says, a place to discuss politics and not drive your family crazy. Yeah, and we've said that.
We'll be your family. We'll be your family.
We're
Robin.
your political family, Robin. And both Nico and I have said something along the lines of, "Thank God for this show," because our girlfriends and wives.
My wife is fucking tired of this.
About
shit.
enough.
But it's okay. When my son's born in like 2.5 months, I'll talk politics with him. I'll tell him all about it.
Yeah, his first words will be, "Fuck woke."
I was going to say fuck Trudeau, but
fuck Trudeau. Yeah.
Trudeau, yeah.
Sasquatch Chronicles. People like you is the only reason I would sit down to hear your ideology and try to understand your point of view. And that's a great comment, because that's exactly what we're trying to create with this space. We know not everyone's going to agree.
My wife is listening. She just she literally just texted me on WhatsApp. She is like, no, don't bombard our child with politics. I forget that she watches us all the time. Funny. She just doesn't comment.
That's really funny.
I've asked my wife in the past not to comment on her stuff because I get attacked so much on a daily basis. I don't want people to know who she is.
Oh, just make that connection.
She doesn't deserve it. She doesn't deserve to be attacked for what I say on a daily basis. I can take it, but it's not her role to do that. She is listening right now, and clearly she does not want me to talk politics with her kid. But guess what, woman? It's gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, too late. It's too late. But yeah, Sasquatch Chronicles. Yeah, I love this comment because I think if you just start from the get-go saying we're not going to agree on a lot of issues, that sort of takes a lot of the tension away. It gives people permission to say, whatever, how they actually feel, without knowing you're not going to be shamed. You're not going to be bombarded, especially if you show your work. Like, here's what I think, here's what I believe, and then, someone else can say, okay, I understand your point. Here's what I think. And it's so much more of a productive environment to have these sorts of discussions. And, people, I think the one thing that people with common sense have in common is we have an open mind. I've had my position changed on some things, just on this show. I've shifted some things just because I want to get it right. I don't care about the ideology behind it. I just want to get things right. Of course, I have my own opinions on things, and they come from places that, of course, I have biases like we all do. But it's just a different kind of place here. It's a different kind of community, and it's shaping up to be exactly the way that we envisioned it when we started this show. And I think, me and Nico both couldn't be happier with the way this is turning out. And it's entirely because of the audience, of you guys. I can't say enough about it, how much I appreciate the audience, how much I appreciate being here. And, we do this because we love it. But that's also why we're asking for the support, is to help us do this, turn this into a full-time gig for both of us, because we think there's a need for this kind of a space online.
And bringing, not only do this full-time, but bring a team together, because it's literally just Rob and I personally work on this shit every single fucking day, hours a day. So I would just love to be able to do more.
Yeah.
To have more people involved in this, to have a better, eventually to have a better Discord server that's better managed. Because again, it's a two-man's team, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll just take a couple more and then we'll probably call it a day, because that's 2.5 hours. This is an interesting comment. Misfit says, after being here a week, I've noticed I align more with Nico on political views. He says he voted conservative, but voted against the Liberals. That's a great comment, because again, if you come here with an open mind, you're gonna find yourself, you might align more with other people, but you also might convince other people to align with yours, right? Everyone here no one's going to shit on anyone for having a different opinion. At the end of the day, we just want to get it right. If you show your work, you may be able to convince a few people. But that's how I did. That's what happened with me. I voted against the Liberals too. And I did that as a Liberal because I see that the Liberals are going in the wrong direction. And I think that it's my duty as a Liberal, as a progressive, to vote the way, if I see them going down the wrong, to not be tribal about it. If I see they're going down the wrong direction and they need a change, then I'm not going to vote for them to win, to continue down that path.
I totally understand. Look at the last one. That's another.
Sasquatch. I'm sold on Nico with that shaved head and goatee of here. He didn't need to speak, but I'm probably on board. Yeah. He's got that French accent that just sucks you in, eh?
But hopefully you're not here for the facial hair, because this is gonna last about a month.
Yeah,
I'll grow a douche beard. Oh yeah, I get so bored. I just you know what bothers me is because I can't grow a full beard like yours, or else I'd have a full beard. It's just mine's so patchy. But I like to have something I can pull on.
Just
something I can pull on over the table, not under the table.
Yeah. Portage Lisker.
Yeah, exactly. But my wife fucking hates this.
Oh, does she?
Commented on it. Oh yeah, because it makes me look older. That she says it makes me look.
Oh
older.
yeah, no, I like it. I think it looks good. It looks sharp, brother.
This fits my. I have pictures of me as like a 16-year-old with a massive, thin, like pencil thin. Do you remember in the 90s? It was like pencil, like this. Yeah. Oh, this is too douchey.
All the way around.
Oh yeah. Just like the super douchey pencil.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
I thought I was black, bro. I wanted to be black back then, man. I was one of those.
That's too funny. Robin says LMAO busted, talking about your wife, talking about catching you discussing your plans for the indoctrination of your child.
And, you know what, Robin, I've recorded probably more than 500 to 1,000 podcasts over the past 4 years, and we lived in a travel trailer, so literally in an RV, her and I. She hears everything I say. She's right above me. I'm in the basement. She's literally right on top of me right now. She hears fucking everything. My voice carries. No, so all the dumb shit that I say I repeat it twice. I say all the dumb shit I say it twice. I say it to her first or
Yeah.
here first, and then the other people hears it afterwards. So she's fucked. And so, but
oh, yeah.
you know the beautiful thing is, she says that because I was gone for almost a week last week, I was in BC.
Yep.
And she says that my son doesn't react the same when I'm not around.
Oh no.
She says that when I record, my son moves. Like he moves more, and when I wasn't there, he wasn't moving during those times.
No
So
way.
it looks like he responds. My voice carries, bro. I believe it. I'm loud, right?
I believe it.
You know, when you're in an Italian family and you're
you have to, eh?
No. I'm loud. I'm as loud, if not louder, than the Italian family. You know I belong, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Misfit says neither party are where they should be, and I feel like that's a great place to plant stick a fork in it for the day, because that's an excellent comment, and that is exactly probably one of the main ideas that the entire concept of the political orphans is based on. I think with that, do you want to
close? Let me just say something, because I've been looking at the Discord server. I see a few of the people that have membership actually joined, but it doesn't seem like it's connecting, because there's roles that are you're supposed to get, like automatic roles. Robin has the role she should be, as in she'll be able to do whatever she wants. But it seems that Therese, which is a member, and Joe Stradamus, same. I believe, and I would hope for. Yeah, I think so. I think that they need to link their YouTube to their Discord account, because I don't know that they had Discord before. So maybe they were just like you. Either they've heard about Discord through the grapevine, but they never had an account. So if that's the case, please connect your YouTube. There's a way you can add your YouTube.
Is it possible for us to manually do it?
No.
Okay.
No, because I would have done it, because as we're talking, I've been looking to see if I can add those rules.
Okay.
But
Well,
they would have to do it.
Guys. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. It's a work in process.
Yep.
It's a work in process. No questions about it.
We'll make sure that we got that, because I think the Discord server is probably the next logical step for the show and for the community. Right now, most of the comments basically happen when we go live, so that's 2.5 hours a day. The Discord server will basically make the community permanent. It'll make it 24/7, any time of day conversations. So if you guys, if you see some topics you want to discuss, some topics you want us to discuss, that's what that's for. We'll jump in there, of course, but it's really it's bigger than just me and Nico. It's you guys, it's the audience. It's a place where we can just convene and just continue building what we're starting to build in here. So I think it's probably a good spot to end her. As always, guys, we appreciate you spending the time with us, taking the time to watch the show, to comment. There's a reason why we do this live, and that's exactly to get that audience engagement. You could have been anywhere in the world today, but you chose to be here with us, and we will always appreciate that. Lots of new stuff happening. There's lots of good things happening here. Our numbers on the back end are just keep going up, and that's why some of these changes are coming in. It's just to make this, now that we're starting to get the attention of, apparently it seems like, the algorithms, and we're getting more and more people. Now it's really time for us to start shaping this into the community that you guys have already started, but we're going to keep going, and that's what those things are for. With the Discord server and with the membership, and so I think lots of exciting things happening, and it's entirely because of you guys. We can't thank you enough for taking the time to be part of this community. I think that's about it, and we will check you guys tomorrow, and we'll figure that out about the Discord server, and me and Nico are going to start posting there as well, so we'll see you guys over there as well, and we will catch you tomorrow at noon Eastern time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Peace.